Right, it is time for Street Talk this week, and I thought it was an alright week in Coronation Street this week. What about you, Gemma?
Great,
says Gemma. Fantastic. Are you ready for some storyline tales? I've told you I've got some iffy ones today, so I need your immediate and honest reactions to these, Gemma. Ready? Number one. So we're going to do the Abby story first. Oh no, I might have told you this one. And we already had the Battersby kind of portmanteau for the two of those, but I wanted to get Abby involved in there as well. Yeah. So I got it with Batterbib. Batterbib.
What does that mean?
It's all of them. It's Battersby and Abby and Habib. Batterbib. Or I've actually called...
How's it different? What?
No, it had been Battersby when it was just the two of them, and now it's Batterbib because she's involved. But...
No.
I've actually calling this Batterbib, Batterboom because it kind of sounds... I like the sound of it.
No.
Next up, we've got... I've still got a bit more of the CAD and the boundary dispute, which is...
That's
we all know which
now.
story that is. That's totally irrelevant, but never mind. I can't think of a better one. Right, next one. The Portuguese Nana War. Yeah, I got a snort. There's a smile, everybody. You have to remember. Yeah.
Oh God.
That's a good one. I like that one. Thanks. Right, next up, Gemma. Would you or would you not agree that Stu had beef with Tracy this week? Yeah?
Yes.
So, we'll call this story Beef and Red Wine Stew. That's a good one.
Oh God.
That's a good one. Beef and red wine stew. That's
Very delicious.
And then we have got the Max Impact story / Halo, which is the couple name that we're trying to push.
We're popularising Halo, everybody.
I know that Elma Verney said, is it, what did she say? Jack me or a mob or something? But we're going surnames and going Halo for our couple name for those
Jacob
two.
Hay and Amy Barlow.
Yeah, Halo.
I came up with that.
That is yours, actually.
And
You're right. I forgot that it wasn't me.
Absolutely genius.
It was.
Actually.
And we had a little bit more of the Drop Dead Ted story today with Craig packing boxes. So we'll
wow.
leave that thrill till last. I know.
I can't believe this storyline is going from strength to strength.
Yeah, I know.
You know, 1 minute you're fishing a plastic nail out of a U-bend, and the next minute you're stacking boxes, and it's just a day in the life of one of Coronation Street's most exciting characters.
Craig Tinker. Right, Gemma, you're doing Batterboom. So what has been going on with this affair storyline this week? Because we were looking forward to how this is going to be turning out. This one.
Oh yeah, because there are two at the moment, aren't there?
This is the actual one night stand that happened and not the one that's made up in Lydia's mind. We were looking forward to this week after they introduced it a little bit last Friday, didn't they? Bringing Toyah and Imran back into the fray. How did they get on? What's been going on this week? Pass over to you.
On Monday, a cleanly shaven Kevin, which was weird. He's like suddenly lost half of his
It's very odd seeing Kevin
face.
with that. It's like Steph Barnes is back and has attacked him with a razor, but all over his face this time.
I thought you were being rude about what Steph Barnes looked like. Like a shaven Kevin Webster.
No, I was just making a reference to 30 years ago. Come on, Gemma, keep up.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Kevin tells Abby that he's taking her and Jack away for a little holiday because they're having an adoption hearing, and for some reason they haven't been prepped about what to expect, or they didn't listen properly, but they think somehow they're going to go in.
It's all going to be sorted.
And they're going to stamp a little thing that says adopted, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
But no. Toyah tells Sarah and Lydia about her engagement news. Everyone, that's right, yes. She's not got engaged yet because she hasn't got a ring yet. Yeah. But because it's an engagement in principle, which is so romantic.
What could go wrong?
Imran presents Toyah with a ring in the bistro. Is it a real one?
I thought it was.
I thought it was a fake one.
Oh no, maybe it was.
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, no, I missed that. You're right, because didn't Abby make a comment about them there'd been no diamonds on it or something? Well,
I think here's a way, ladies. If you're very materialistic and your man gives you an engagement ring and it's not up to scratch, to go, oh, this is so funny, I can't wait for the real one. And then let him work it out from there. Right on cue, Abby and Sally come in and there's a bit of an awkward air in the
of course
place. Sally congratulates them, and then Sean does as well, and Imran and Abby go, look over here, let's look awkwardly and guiltily at one another. Sean irritates them. Where is this? At the bistro still. He's like, let's play Never Have I Ever.
Never Have I Ever enjoyed a scene with Sean in. That's not true. I usually like Sean. I am usually a Sean defender, but it was very annoying.
Never have I ever turned 180 degrees without flouncing.
In less than half a second.
Imran's like, no, we're not doing that. Give it a rest. Abby walks out.
I think a lot of the viewership were cheering Imran on when he told John to shut up, though.
So what's wrong with being fun? What's wrong with being fun? That's what I say.
Just wants to play a game.
Yeah. Abby, I mean, there are worse games, aren't there? Abby walks out. Sally's behind her. She seems to think that Sean has struck a nerve and maybe Kevin was unfaithful. And Abby says, no, you got it wrong. Kevin wasn't unfaithful. I was. I don't know why this really had to come out here.
Just to make the plot move on at a nice pace.
Okay.
She is eating her up inside.
Now, Abby and Sally were friends, weren't they? Because Abby stayed at Tim and Sally's house at one point.
Well, yeah, Sally and Abby were cellmates together, weren't they? Back in the day.
That is a deep bond that will never be broken. Yeah. She's definitely more friends with Sally than she is with Toyah. By the end of the week, she's like...
Toyah's inviting herself around number 13 for a cup of tea.
Toyah comes out to see if Abby's okay, and Sally's like, I wonder what's happening here. I think I can work it out. And she gives Abby a very disapproving look, and then she goes home. And on Wednesday, Abby texts Sal like, can we talk, please? Kevin starts her by coming in and jabbering about the holiday that they're going to go on. And she says, I'm just really nervous because the adoption hearing's going on today, and tries to escape to go to see Sally. But Kevin wants to take her out for a very special breakfast before that happens. So Abby tries to talk to Sally before they leave, but she doesn't really want to talk to her about it. But luckily, for her anyway, the camper van won't start, which gives them more time to fix it, I guess. Abby makes excuses. Oh, there's a courtroom. Then we have the courtroom scene where they're going to have the adoption thing. And Abby's like, I've got to get out of here. She goes and she leaves a message on Sally's answer machine to not tell Kevin. Because at this point, the stakes are even higher than normal, aren't they? Because before, it was just her relationship with Kevin. But now, it's, is it going to mess up my adoption with Jack? Is Jack going to get upset with me? How is this going to end? So, the magistrate or whatever it is...
Was it? I don't really understand the difference.
You've written magistrate, but I don't know.
I've written the magistrate or whoever in my notes, just err on the side of caution there. If you want any
technical insider knowledge, come to us.
The adoption boss.
Yeah, that's right.
The child placement officer.
Adoptee B. He's like, well, you seem like you'd make a good mum, but you were a massive druggie. So I want to look into that a bit more. And I will see you back here on the 14th of March so I can have a look at it. And then Kevin and Abby are like, oh no, we really didn't realise that this wouldn't go 100% smoothly. Like, what? I mean, bless Abby, I love her. I think she's great. But if I was like trying to decide what's in the best interest of this child, I wouldn't be like, sign this woman up. She's had 3 kids already. She's lost all of them. So it's only fair that she gets one more crack at it.
It's not like she was careless, especially with Seb.
One maybe is a mistake. 2, I'm starting to give you a side eye about it. 3, it's just carelessness, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, the magistrate's just like, let's wait a month just to see if any more drama happens in this story.
Yeah.
I just
want
to make sure. If you can
go a month without any more drama, I will say you are an eligible mother. Back on the street, Kevin's saying to Jack, I know it hasn't happened yet.
That's why they're willing to give Elsie to Toyah. It's like, you're never in it, love. No drama ever happens with you.
You seem like a steady lady.
You can have Jack too if you like.
Yeah, why don't you adopt all of them? Who else is going? Spare. Do you want some quads? So, Kevin tells Jack, I can feel it in my bones. It's good news coming. Definitely all the adoption's going to be A-okay. Abby comes into the garage later and says, Kevin, I love you and I love Jack and I love everything, but I've screwed everything up. And he says, no, you haven't. I love you. Then she runs away because Sally's phoning her. Kevin, meanwhile, is fiddling around with the stereo of this very old-looking camper van.
It's got a brand new stereo system in there, Gemma. It's top of the range.
It's got a very good Bluetooth connector, which... instantly connects Abby's phone with the Bluetooth so that he can overhear her saying, Kevin's heart will break when he finds out. And Abby's like, oh, don't tell him. Sally, hello, can you hear me? And no.
I thought that was quite a nice modern way of overhearing, because that definitely happens. You're on the phone sometimes, or you're doing something on your phone, then it connects to the Bluetooth when you turn the car on.
It was easy to understand what was going on.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how the grannies in the audience really understood what was happening, but I got it, and I thought, yes, that could maybe happen.
Could happen. That's plausible indeed.
It makes a change from somebody just happening to walk on by when somebody's revealing a secret, or just the classic "tell Kevin what."
Yeah. Kevin's standing there. It put me in
mind of a little bit around that time when Eva's text messages appeared on the Maria's TV, or was it the other way around? I can't remember.
Yeah. Kevin's standing there and he's like, what's going to break me heart? And Abby says, I cheated on you. She's admitting it. She says, it happened ages ago. My head was a mess. I can't remember. Did she say it before they got married? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
But he says, who was it with? And she doesn't say anything. And then he says, was it Tez? And she's like, yes, it was definitely him. And he drives off. Now, Tez, to remind everybody, Seb's dad, Abby's old ex.
And local gun supplier.
Yeah, gunsmith.
Yeah.
Well-hard. Bit scary. Jack finds Abby crying later, which he puts down to the fact that she didn't get to adopting in the hearing. And he's trying to be all sweet and everything. And she says, don't get your hopes up. I think I've done a lot of bad things. And I don't know whether it's going to come off now. And he says, I don't care. You're me mum no matter what anyone says. Well, all right then. Let's drop the pretense then, shall we?
I think it's odd that Jack's taken to Abby this hard and this fast. Because she's only been on the scene for, year and a half maybe, tops. And now he's saying, you're me mum.
It's very sweet and everything, but... it seems obvious to me that Kevin is going to now want to break up with Abby, and he's not going to want to have Jack have anything to do with her. So, if your adoption of a child is entirely dependent on your relationship with the other parent, does it? I don't think it's a good idea.
Probably not.
Do you not think that?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like adoptions, I think it's really lovely when, and I kind of. To me, I don't see why you don't automatically become the child's parent when you marry. You know what I mean? It seems it would be nice if that happened automatically, but because you have to go through a lot of hoops.
There's probably some people that wouldn't want that for whatever reason.
I know, yeah, you wouldn't want to be adopted by your dad's girlfriend now, would you?
No.
That'd be so funny. But
they're not getting married, so.
No, you see what I mean, though. It feels like unless two people are adopting at once, it kind of feels a bit like. Yeah,
I'm trying to think. I kind of thought it was odd that Jack considered Abby his mum quite so soon, but has he ever had an actual mother figure in his life? Because I'm trying to think of who. I suppose there was Anna Kevin was in a relationship with for a bit, wasn't she? Did Anna didn't marry Kevin, did she?
I don't know.
She did. Anna Webster, no. But did Jack think of her as his mum? I don't know. And then there was Jenny as well that was going out with him for a bit.
It just really feels to me as though this adoption is more of a symbolic thing to kind of make Abby and Jack feel good about themselves, which is lovely, but given what I think will happen now, feels very misguided, and like Kevin doesn't really understand what he's getting himself into if he's not 100%.
He obviously didn't know what he was getting himself into fully when he married Abby, did he?
And I think he's mad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Although he has said in the past, the past is the past, Abby, anything that happened before, it doesn't matter. Well,
just overlook all my crimes.
Yeah, he kind of went back on that one just a tad this week.
Maybe he's like, I don't care if she did cheat on me. If she's adopted Jack, that means she has to have him 50% of the time, and I can get my birds in.
She's got to make Jack's tea now.
Got to clean his pants.
Abby, you got to clean Jack's pants and my pants now. The judge told me.
Yeah, that's probably it, isn't it? That makes sense. Okay, so where am I? Did you move it?
No, I didn't move anything. Yeah, you're just at the top here. Abby
you're
goes...
my mum no matter what.
Yeah.
Abby goes to number 8 and tells Sally everything that's happened, apart from the major point, which is Imran.
Yes.
Was the one what she done it with.
Yes.
She's terrified that she's ruined everything, and Sally tries to calm her down and says, look, Kevin will calm down as well. But she's also like, oh, he does know that I didn't want to keep this from him, doesn't he? And Abby's like, look, Sally, I don't care about you and Kevin at the moment.
Speaking of the devil, there he comes knocking at the door as well.
One of the main things that Sally was saying on the phone to Abby is like, I don't want to lie for you, but I'm not going to tell him. But you need to tell him.
Yeah. So Kevin comes round, doesn't he?
Kevin comes round. I'm so tired. Sally comes to see Kevin. Sally says, look, Kevin, see how upset Abby is. And he's like, I don't care, really. I want to know what happened. How long did this go on for? And then up turns Jack, and there's loads of drama. So they go back home. Jack gets sent away upstairs, and Abby's desperately trying to explain herself. But she's still lying again. Oh, it was a one-off before we even got married. Please forgive me. Yeah, but she's lying about a crucial element of it. She says, look, we need to go away together as a family. Let's go on this holiday. Bit by bit, you'll be able to forgive me. Or why don't you just go and then you can talk to me when you get back? And he's like, oh, no, I don't know what to do. I want to go. I don't know if I
want to go on a lovely February camper van holiday around the UK.
She says something like, if you're still here when I get back, I'll know that you want me to go with you. But if you want to go by yourself, then just drive away.
Yeah, and he gets her hopes right up because she goes off, comes back, and he's still there.
And then he says, oh, no, I don't love you. You just assumed that I was listening to a word you said, which would be return up for the books, to be frank. And I don't care, basically. Kevin says, I want to talk to you and tell you it's not going to work. Me and Jack are going away, and then when we come back, I want you to leave.
By the time I get back.
Why? What did I say?
Well, you said when we get back, I want you to leave. It's like, when we get back, I want you to make me a cup of tea, put my tea on, wash all my pants from the trip, and then you can leave. But give me instructions for the washing machine.
He hasn't thought it through, has he? Because he really could do that. Maybe he's like, I'm going to scam this woman. I'm going to pretend I like her for the rest of our lives, and she's going to do all my cooking, cleaning, and washing for me. It's just not very, very different, of course, from his idea of marriage. On Friday, Tyrone finds Abby working in the garage, and he's like, oh, what's going on? I thought you were going on holiday. And she says, Kevin's gone away and left me at home, like Home Alone.
Yeah, the only difference is that in Home Alone, Kevin was the one that stayed behind while everybody else went off. It's like the inverse of Home Alone.
Well, also, they didn't do it on purpose.
No.
And I don't know whether Tyrone's like thinking that Kevin is that dense that he's left his wife. When he gets to dinner time, he'll be like, hang on a minute.
Oh!
Something's wrong. Later on, Tyrone says to Imran about Kevin's disappearance, and he tells him that he thinks that Kevin and Abby may have split up, and Imran's immediately like, yikes. Then Abby's sitting in Victoria Gardens, and Sally comes along, and Imran sees them together and like stands behind a pillar, which is about just like 5 inches too short for his. Like, Abby and Sally are like, there's a haircut hovering. Don't pay it any mind. Let's continue having our private conversation.
This is where everyone has their private conversations in the soundproof Victoria Gardens.
Abby's telling Sally about what's happened, about Kevin finding out about her having an affair, and Sally says, shut up whining about this. You've brought it on yourself. Which, honestly, I feel as though Sarah Louise should have told this to Lydia about a month ago, but never mind. Later on, Imran goes and finds Abby at work. She tells him what Kevin knows, or what he thinks he knows, which is that she had an affair with Tez. And she says, she starts having to go at him and telling him to get back.
Well, he's very relieved, isn't he? And she's like, oh, I'm glad it's all good for you, Imran.
How wonderful. And then Toyah comes
Imran
around
show.
the Imran show.
I'd watch it.
Toyah comes just as Abby's going, get lost, Imran, I hate you. And Toyah's like, hang on a minute. That's my man you're talking about. I'm a listener. Tell me more.
She's a professional listener, she says.
Abby says, look, sorry, I didn't mean to be rude to Imran. I'm just narky because of Kevin, because he's left me. And then this is when Toyah offers her services. So if you say, look, tell me more, I'm a professional listener, do you then go, oh, how much do you need for what we've said so far?
I want to know whether we can hire some professional listeners to
No,
try
I
and
think
get our
she said-
download
she
numbers
says
up for
she's
this
a-
podcast.
No, we're wrong. She said she's a trained listener.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Trained listener.
Trained listener. That makes more sense. Because, if somebody says to me, I'm a professional listener, you would start saying, well, I'm not going to talk to you anymore then. Don't need a professional on this job. Toyah then invites herself around to Abby's house to talk to her and asks her what has happened. What split you and Kevin up? Because you were so good together. I don't get it. And she says, were you unfaithful? And Abby's like, no. I left some drugs lying around. I wasn't going to take them
What
or
am
nothing.
I like?
But I just like to know they're there. And Kevin found them. And Toyah says, it's not your fault. You're an addict. It's like blaming someone who's got cancer. I wonder if she'd be this nice if it turns out Imran's got like a sex addiction or something. It might very well have. Like, sorry, Toyah. It's not my fault. I've got cancer of the penis.
Maybe he just needs to try and
You
use
can
that
only
one on
cure
her when
it.
it eventually comes out.
By dipping it about.
Yeah.
What?
Dipping.
Toya's like, look, I'm sure he'll get over it because he has to. Because you're
He
made for
needs
each
somebody
other.
to make his tea, remember, Abby. Don't worry.
Yeah, you got him on the back foot. He's not going to learn. Not at his age. Toyah goes home and tells Imran about how Abby split up with Kevin because she had drugs. And he says, well, that's good. And she's like, what do you mean? And he goes, oh, that she didn't take the drugs. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm a trained listener. I heard you said that. Abby leaves a message on Kevin's answer machine, promising that she will still be there when he gets back and she's not giving up on him.
The end. Oh, Abby. So, what did you think of this story this week, Gemma? Did it live up to your expectations?
I'd like to see Toyah and Imran again.
Well, yeah, I did, but there wasn't very much of them for most of the week. Toyah still managed to stay hidden away for the majority of the episodes. Imran was kind of ducking in and out a little bit throughout the week, but I suppose we got a bit more of them today. I thought that there'd be more to it especially at the beginning of the week, and I thought they'd make a bigger deal about Imran and Toyah being engaged as well. But apart from a few cursory scenes on Monday's episodes, there was kind of nothing came out of it really. A shame. No scene of Toyah telling Leanne that she was engaged, for example. Missing a trick.
Oh, are they going to have a party? And then that's when Abby's going to say, no champagne for me,
yes.
thanks.
Oh, maybe they are going to have an engagement party. Maybe that'll be next week. So the whole reveal thing then with the Bluetooth, we said we enjoyed that. Are you glad that it's come out now? Because I am definitely glad. I think I was even saying last week that I don't want this to linger on any longer than it has done. I mean, I know that it's not completely out in the open, but I think I'm glad that Kevin knows now and the pace is picking up a bit.
I know, but the pair of them, Imran and Abby, are both
Gotta come out at some point.
I had an affair with anyone except, you know what I mean? It's like,
well, it's obviously going to come out who this one night stand was actually with. I don't know whether Toyah and Kevin are going to realise, because Abby's at the moment saying, "Oh, we split up because of the drugs," but that's only going to last so long.
I don't know why
isn't
she
it?
said that as well. It's like, you dumb idiot. Why didn't you why don't you just say what you told everybody else? Why are you telling two different stories?
I get why she wouldn't want to say it. Did Toyah
also
suggest
don't
it was
know
drugs
why-
and then Abby agreed, or was it
Why
the other
did
way
Toyah
around?
go round there right as well? She's like,
She wants to know. She
really
wants a bit of a
bored.
goss.
I really like. She's
I
like,
really like listening.
when I used to be a counsellor, I was only in it for the gossip. Now I don't get any.
No, I think she's just being nice because they're kind of friends.
I'm not used to this. I don't understand what that means.
She just wanted to find out. No, I kind of get that Abby doesn't want to say it's an affair, or maybe she was caught on the back foot or something, because she's been desperately wanting to hide this from Toyah for like 6 months or so. And if Toyah's come around saying what's going on, then your first natural reaction might be just to try and deflect the attention somewhere else. And maybe, when she thought about it afterwards, she was like, oh yeah, maybe I should have kept with the same story. But maybe also she's hoping that Kevin's going to come back and she's going to be able to persuade him to stick with her and not tell everybody about how I had a one-night stand with somebody.
What I'm confused about, I guess, is because Toyah didn't say to Abby, what happened? No more secrets.
Yeah, that would have made it a
because then it would make sense.
Yeah.
Why she lied.
I think I don't know how long Kevin's supposed to be away for. Week, 2 weeks. How long do you need to go on a camping tour around the country in this time of year? I don't know.
Listen, one of my favourite things to watch at the moment, which I don't know if you listened to me telling you about how much I enjoy this, is Korean people camping in the snow.
Yeah,
and some of them have little camper vans, and some of them have little cars, and some of them have tents. And if they can do it in South Korea in the snow, I think Kevin can just about manage trundling around.
It basically just comes down to how many pairs of pants he took with him, because he can wear them inside out for a day.
You got to wear more than one.
Well, yeah, that's true. He's going to go out there. He's going to realise he needs to wear more than one at once, isn't he, to keep his bits warm.
Then you can rotate them, can't you?
Back to front and inside out. I don't know. So he's going to come back, and I assume then he's going to blab to somebody, because I think Sally's the secret's safe with Sally for a good while. She's going to be off the show.
But she
she
doesn't know the truth. Only Abby and Imran
but she knows that there was an affair. But I don't think that...
But so does Kevin.
Yeah, I know. But Sally's not going to be coming back now for 2-3 months. She's going to be away with Gina, isn't she? Because, I'm assuming that Sally Denver hasn't been doing any filming. And if they're filming, I don't know, late March at the moment, surely the secret's going to come out before then. Because Kevin's going to come back and he's not going to say, oh, yeah, that's right, she did just find drugs, unless he's decides, I want to spare her feelings. I don't want to shame her or anything, so I'll go along with that story. I don't believe that. So he's going to say, no, she had an affair with somebody. And then, I don't know, you just need a scene of Kevin and Toyah sort of having a chat about it together, don't we? And then they'll kind of put 2 and 2 together and realise, maybe... But I hope that it happens sooner rather than later, because I just want it out in the open, because it's very precarious at the moment, and I really, really, really want Imran and Toyah to stay together. And I just need to know that their future is safe and secure. And by dragging it on and making us linger and keep us on the edge of our seats for all these weeks, it's not doing me any good.
I reckon they're going to string it out until Toyah and Imran get married, have like a wedding day. I really do. But I think what's going to happen is that they're going to have a last minute cancellation, so they will have quite a wedding quite soon.
Well, that's handy for them as well, because they're going to want to adopt Elsie of the back room sooner rather than later, aren't they? I thought, she's always in her room, that kid. What's she up to?
When you said Elsie of the back room, it made it sound like it was like a 1970s sitcom or something, a reference that I didn't know anything about.
I didn't know what I was referring to. I think I was thinking of Stella, because people used to call Stella Price Stella of the back room.
Did they? Maybe it is a reference.
Maybe it was in my head. Yeah, they're going to want to do whatever they can to precipitate the adoption of Elsie before she... I don't know what happens if they don't adopt her. Does she just go back into the pool of other unfortunate kidlings for someone else to fish out?
Is it like a big snub if you're like, I don't want to adopt her, I'm just going to foster her?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do they go, well, you're not having her then?
So that
I guess you get money for fostering, but you probably don't get anything for adopting.
Yeah. So why would you adopt?
I'm not adopting her. You give me money. As a kid? You stupid idiots.
Do you think, Gemma, are we going to see Toyah in this wedding dress then? Are you expecting this?
I want it too much for it to come true.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm wondering as well, like, Kevin, he's... fairly angry at the moment.
He is a bit, isn't he? He's cross.
And his anger may well subside during his holiday with Jack, but he's going to come right back again when he returns. So I wonder whether he's going to try and hunt Tez down.
Hey,
because that's the easy way for him to find out, no, it wasn't Imran.
Yeah, but as we all know...
He just needs to go around the dog and gun and say, look, I want a gun.
To shoot you with?
Yeah, does anybody know where the local gun dealer is? Tez comes round... And Kevin's like, you bang me bird. And he's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, and then Kevin says, no one would lie. The
only banging that I'm interested in is bang, bang, you're dead with my gun.
Yeah. Or that Nancy Sinatra song.
Yeah. So, and then I guess Kevin would say, you're just saying this, you don't need to cover it up. Would. But he's like, no, literally, Abby's a dirty skank.
And then he says, look, you're a criminal, your word is your bond, I trust you. You would never lie.
No. So I'm wondering whether it could come out that way.
I don't think Tez is going to come back in it.
No, I think he is. I think he's out there. And Yeah. What did you think about Kevin's reaction? Because the internet seems to have really taken against Kevin this week.
Really?
Well, for just being so angry, and the fact that, they're saying, "Oh, Kevin, you're such a hypocrite. Remember Natalie Horrocks, remember Molly Dobbs, etc."
I don't understand why people are so down on hypocrites. Everyone is a hypocrite.
That's what I think.
I refuse to believe there's a single person on earth who has not got mad at somebody for doing something they do themselves.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think, with Jack involved, with the kid involved, Kevin had every right to get angry at Abby for this revelation, even though he had said, "Oh, the past." I don't think.
Well, the thing is, it's not the past for him because he's just found out about it. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
if it was like I had an affair and you knew about it, why are you mad now?
No, well, he'd said that whatever's happened before the wedding, that doesn't matter anymore. But he wasn't counting.
That was a bit of a stupid thing.
He wasn't counting on this. But
I think he's brought it. on himself.
I don't know. What was he supposed to do? Go, "Oh, I'm really annoyed about this, but I did promise you that I wouldn't count anything that happened before the wedding. I don't want to go. I'm a man of my word."
Yeah, no, I've said it. Oh.
And yeah, there is Jack involved. So I wonder whether I thought it was an interesting move to have the magistrate or whoever defer the adoption for a month, because what if Jack had been officially adopted by Abby by lunchtime on Wednesday's episode, and then the reveal comes out? That to me seems like it had been a more interesting predicament.
In my own, I'm probably wrong, and people who know more about this would probably have a better perspective. So if you have an opinion on this, do feel free to write in. But it just feels wrong to me that the adoptions would even go ahead, given that Kevin's going to say, "Well, now you can't be his mum."
Yeah. So you're saying because it's too. It's
a good thing.
He's so quick to say no. Actually,
there's no way that Kevin's going to be working out with Abby. Well, you were as good as his mum. We just don't have that bit of paper that we were trying to get. You're as good as his mum. You would have adopted him this week if it hadn't been for all the other stuff and the guy deferring. So I know you cheated on me, and I hate your guts, and I don't want to be around you. But let's work out a schedule for us both to look after Jack. There's no way he's going to do that.
I wonder what he's told Jack. I can't remember whether we heard anything on Wednesday's episode, but why does Jack think that Abby's not gone with them?
Poor Jack. He doesn't deserve these late.
I suppose Jack does know that Abby's a bit of a flake, but yeah, no, he doesn't deserve them. He's only little, remember?
Honestly, but
he's
the
only
thing
young.
Is, I know
you can watch him and you think he's about 50 at this point, but he is only, 11 years old?
50?
50, 15, I don't know.
I think that Jack would forgive her, and I think from that perspective, perhaps it would be a good thing.
Will Kevin realise if Jack can forgive Abby, then so can I?
I don't know. I don't know.
But still good.
Just the adoption thing is just boggling my head.
Yeah.
Because I think adoption's a brilliant thing, and more people should be encouraged to do it. I just wonder whether this is is this a story that's going to make people go... And the other weird thing about this too is that there's two people having affairs and adopting children at the same time. What is going on here?
Good point. Sorry, I was just drinking some tea. I wasn't ready. I
didn't have an answer to my hypothetical question.
What is going on here?
But isn't this like Coronation? The curse of Coronation Street is they can't do a story. They think a story's good. They have to do it twice at the same time. Why are there two adoption and affair storylines going on where these poor children are dependent on the adults that they're relying on to keep it in their bloody pants?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's not as bad. The worst problem I've had with two things happening at once this week is having a character called Lydia and a character called Linda. And I'm scrolling up and down my notes and I'm putting things in the wrong paragraphs because I got those names sound too similar. Okay, this was quite fun. I'm kind of glad that Kevin is out of the way because he is a bit of a weak link in this storyline. No offence, Kevin, but the other character's more interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't care about their marriage being
the problem that I'm not particularly looking forward.
I'm not even that worried about Jack.
Aw.
Sorry, Jack.
The thing I'm really not looking forward to now is the inevitable downward spiral from Abby, because the writers love to put her in a situation where she gets all sad and upset and has to turn to drugs and, does things that are terrible for her. And I think that Sally Carman, as you know, is a fantastic actress and she can do grief extremely well, but I just think that it infuriates me a little bit when the character just is constantly circling this plug hole of despair, and
this is the trouble about
she's making it worse for herself.
Mental health and addiction storylines, that to be true to them, you have to have relapses and the character's continuously kind of tortured and tormented by what they can't do but they want to. But
what worked well with the Peter story last year is that it really, really, really did seem that he was in the last chance saloon, didn't he? And we'd seen him getting back on the wagon again, or falling off the wagon. I forget my metaphors.
Getting
on. And
they're like, what do you
it's
need?
like one more drink and you'll die. But last year, because I don't know, it just felt like he really, really meant it. He had a blanket and a jigsaw and everything. And
you don't do that unless you're serious.
And he had a scruffy beard, and they had him, having the shakes and and all that on the floor. And it's like, oh, okay, he is lower than he has ever been. Are we going to see Abby being lower than she's ever been, or is she just going to be on a kind of as bad as she has ever been on a number of occasions? Then it won't have the same impact then, because it'll be like, oh, she'll be fine again soon. But I really, really hope that at some point in the future we're going to have a happy, fun Abby story, because I think she's become a victim of the continual Corrie curse of find a great actress and just throw grief at her. So yes, she can play it, but come on, Abby is also lots of fun too. Don't forget that, Corrie writers. Right, next up, Gemma, Adam, Sarah, Lydia. Right, this got interesting for me on Friday. Was that the same for anybody else? This story that we've been taking the mick out of for so long because it's so dull actually got quite fun today. But before Friday, Monday and Wednesday's episode, so Lydia and Sarah make up after Lydia's lateness last week and all that. And Lydia is not happy to see Sarah mooning over this ovulation app that she's got.
No one's happy about Sarah ovulating.
Stop going on about your bits, Sarah. Nobody cares about your fallopian tubes or your... What else do women have? Vulvas? I don't know how these things
work. I don't know what is happening.
Or your ovaries, love. Stop going on about it. So Sarah finds Lydia upset in the office later, fake upset of course, and she's still going on about this bloody fella that she's supposedly going out with, saying, oh, we just won't commit to me, I'm so lost. And you made a good point when we were watching this the other week about why is Sarah entertaining this? Why isn't she saying, you're going out with a married man?
No, I think...
Sorry, I'm not on your side here.
No, I think that's just me not being modern and progressive and accepting and wonderful.
Someone wants to have an affair with a married man and they're your mate, just support them.
I think that's the prevailing opinion seems to be. It's none of your business, so you shouldn't get involved. But I wouldn't get involved, but I'm not going to sit there and go, tell me the gossip, what was going on.
Well, that's exactly what Sarah did on Wednesday, doesn't she?
I'm sorry, but she deserves... I know it wasn't even happening, but she deserves all the tears and the sadness that she gets at the end of the week, because she gave no craps about this other woman that Lydia was doing dirty.
Until she found out that it was
her. Oh no, it's not right when you do it to me, but doing it to some random woman I don't care about.
Yeah.
I look, not everybody has the same set of morals and everything, but I just can't understand people that think it's harmless and nobody's business, or it's totally fine and it's not your problem to have an affair with somebody else.
Yeah, no.
I just don't buy it. I'm sorry. There's no reason to ever have a relationship with somebody if they're already in a relationship with someone else.
Well, she manages to stop going for the goss for a little bit, because on Monday night at the end, Adam tells her, look, stop wasting your time thinking about Lydia, concentrate on My Little Swimmers, because this is the NSFW scene of the week, wasn't it? Sarah lounging around half naked on the sofa. I don't think anybody was expecting that when the scene transitioned to their flat. It was like, whoa!
I don't know what was going on in the ideas of people's...
I want to know what Tina O'Brien thought when she saw that in the script.
She's a very beautiful woman, and I'm sure lots of people enjoy Totty
She's
or whatever.
looking good for her age. I mean,
She's not that old.
She's our age. Tina O'Brien's 1983, like me.
The
Can you imagine me lying around on the sofa looking that good? No.
No, I can't.
So if you got it, flaunt it maybe. But
the character of Sarah's 33, isn't she?
I can't remember. She's
I
definitely...
looked it up.
Oh, is she? Oh, yeah, because that's right. Tina O'Brien was born the same year as me, but the character is my sister's age.
Well, I don't want to ever... Oh, God. I'm just a prude. I'm not even going to pretend. I'm not even going to say anything. Don't want to see...
We all know, Gemma.
Don't want to see people lying around in with angling their hips so that sperm can reach their eggs. I'm not interested in ovulation. I don't care about...
I didn't mind it too much. I was
don't
just
care
caught
about
off
it.
guard a bit. Well, you made a good point in the Facebook group that if you want to get pregnant on Soapland, all you have to do is sleep with somebody that you should never ever sleep with.
Sleep with Imran.
Yeah, and then she'll give you not right up.
Yeah, exactly, or Steve.
Anyway, that was an interesting scene, and yeah, so it's the one that ended with Adam saying, "Just stop going on about Lydia. Let her get on with her own problem." We have a couple of
If Adam knows that Lydia is talking to Sarah about having an affair. If I was Adam, I'd say, and what did you say? And if Sarah was like, I just told her, tell me everything about it, isn't it dramatic and fun? I'd say, what, so you don't have a problem with people having affairs? Is that what you're saying?
Unless it's me, clearly.
Do you know what I mean? I'd look sideways at anybody who's
She's
like...
got double standards, that's
I
Sarah
don't
Lou.
care. I understand that it's nobody's business, but Lydia's making it Sarah's business, and vice versa. It's one thing to say, look, I'm your friend, I really don't think this is a good idea, you're only going to get hurt, I don't care about this other woman, but I do care about you, but don't talk to me about it. And quite another thing, Sarah's like encouraging her most of the time and saying, oh, tell me, I'm sad, tell me about your date last night with your married man.
I suppose.
And also Sean and a few of the other factory girls were like going, oh, isn't it exciting? You're a bunch of degenerates.
I suppose
There's no morals left in this country.
We've never had a friend who's been in the similar situation of having an affair, as far as we know, have we? So maybe we would be the same.
We have actually, and I told her exactly what I'm saying here. You're getting yourself in a dangerous situation, and you are gonna end up getting burned, and if he does it to her, he'll do it to you. And guess what happened? Continue.
To remind me, we're talking about later. Okay, so Wednesday, as episode, Sarah tells Lydia, look, I need to. Adam told me to keep my nose out of your love life, basically. So Lydia goes and has a bit of a fake cry in front of Sean, and he says, she says, it's my bloke, he keeps on texting me, and I don't know what to make of it all. What do I do, Sean? and now Sarah's not listening to me. I need her as a sympathetic ear. And Sean says, look, I'm just going to pretend I found you crying in the bogs, and then she can go off and check on you, and then she'll be able to listen to your problems again. And that seems to work, because Sarah, 2 scenes later, is already apologising to Lydia and saying, please do tell me all the goss. Tell me, you can talk to me about your fellow troubles whenever you like.
No.
So, meanwhile, over at the lawyer's office...
This is like having to listen to somebody cry. They've got a headache when you've watched them bang their head against a wall for half an hour. Yeah. You're not getting any sympathy off of me for it. I told you not to bang your head against the wall, and now look what's happened. You've got a nosebleed and one of your eyes is falling out.
Well, Gemma,
I'm not even going to phone you an ambulance, to be honest.
You're not a trained listener, Gemma. You don't understand these things.
There are people in the world who are built to be sympathetic and offer tea and sympathy and a sofa to sit on and an ear that will listen, and then there's me.
You're not offering tea to anyone. You're
come
drinking
back
it all yourself.
When you've sorted your life out.
So, Sarah sends Adam a Rickroll, which I found hilarious, in response to his NSFW text or email, that he sent her earlier. I want to know what that is. And that was very risky, wasn't it? Sending her on a work email.
Risky.
What did he send her? Was it a picture of him tossing his caber or something? I don't know. He's going to get himself in trouble.
Don't send pictures of you. Look, okay, I know, again, here I am, moralising. Don't send
Gemma,
naked
you've
pictures.
never sent me a naked picture of yourself on my work email address. I feel a bit like you don't actually love me.
Why are you doing this now? You're in a soap. You're going to get blackmailed.
Yeah, maybe that's all part of getting the ovulation process going. Maybe it kind of jump starts you downstairs areas if you get these emails. Yeah. So anyway, he gets his email from Sarah Lou, and then Imran comes in and says...
No, hang on, you haven't really explained this.
What?
Sarah gets a thing from Adam going, sexy package, do not open unless you prepared for gross levels of... Like, also, the other thing I just want to say, okay, maybe there was a time when this was acceptable, when our mobile phones were a bit... the resolution wasn't as high. I don't need a high resolution picture of anyone's naked areas. Thank you very much.
What's the point if it's not a high resolution?
What, so you can zoom right in and go, look at all that, there's a blocked follicle there.
When you got it on your Nokia 3210, it was just you could put it down to your imagination.
Get your mole checked out. Yeah, so he sends her a picture of himself naked, probably. It's horrible.
There's some listeners that would love to be sent a picture of Sam Robinson naked, I'm sure.
I just think it takes all kinds. Good for you if you like that. Luckily for you, because there's loads of pictures like that on the internet. Then she sends him back. You just Photoshop it. She sends a thing back going, ooh, thanks for the email. Check this out. Don't open it at work. And he does open it, and it's Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley, which is hilarious.
That was a great reference. If we were 10 years ago.
No, I think, yeah. Okay.
I guess that Sarah and Adam are of our generation that would get that. Kids today, they won't understand.
I want to know what Sarah's Reddit account is and what kind of subreddit she goes on.
I don't know. What's the beginning? r/wonky finger.
I bet you Adam's always on Scotland talking about Nicola Sturgeon.
Yeah, I bet. So anyway, Imran comes into the lawyer's office and says, look at all these terrible reviews that we've got on reviewyourlawyers.com. Everybody says that we're a load of rubbish. Yeah, Adam says that, it's a racist one. It's called me a lying Scottish git. And Imran's like, yeah, that's racist, is it? So anyway, Adam is convinced that this is Jeremy Baramy doing this.
This is work of him.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my gosh, Kat is walking all over the keyboard. She's just written, just written L, semicolon, 3 commas and a P. I don't know what that's supposed to be. So I've completely lost where I am now. Yeah, so he's knocked that Adam's dodgy reputation onto Barlow Legal Services. And Imran's like, you got to sort yourself out with this, mate. So Sarah, meanwhile, is telling Lydia all about this trouble that Bremen is still causing, and Lydia can't help but smirk to hear this news because she knows it's really her. Back inside
How much effort is all of this?
I know, she's got nothing better to do. Lydia needs to get a hobby.
I'm vindictive and I hold grudges, but I can't be bothered with all this. Imagine if I had all this energy.
I just feel really, really sorry for little Finn, who...
I know.
He's not made an appearance for like 2 months now. Sorry, Mum, I'm just being evil.
Mummy, it's half term. Can we go to the park?
I know.
No. Can you generate me some more Hotmail addresses?
Yeah, some parents take half term week off to look after their kids.
No.
But she's like, I'm paying for him to go to this half term club with Joseph.
Eat these raw oysters and shut up.
Anyway. Sarah is very curious about Lydia's text later, and she says, look, it's my bloke. He's trying to draw me into a conversation, but no, Sarah, you can't read the messages. And then Adam comes in and says, you're talking about Lydia's fancy piece. How dare you? I told you not to talk to her about that. Yeah,
but it's not even that. It's that he doesn't like them being friends. Everyone is awful in this storyline, isn't it? Everyone's awful. Adam's not even that bothered. Sarah's like, let me see your dirty texts with this good bloke. And just to be clear also, it doesn't even matter to me whether this guy is married or not. It's not really about that. It's the fact that this guy is in a committed relationship with somebody. And I also want to say another thing. This podcast will often tease out of me very controversial and black and white opinions on things. that I actually don't care about in real life and never would come across, and is not a problem whatsoever. But because this show confronts you with things that are like really, what's the word? Overblown and exaggerated, it kind of makes your opinions the same way.
That is the mission statement of Coronation Street.
I just don't
you have
want
opinions about things.
I know life happens.
Maybe entertain you sometimes.
And some people, if you get caught or whatever, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm casting aspersions on their own personal life who's listening, who might have been in a situation like this. This is a completely fictional situation. All these people are awful. Everything that's happened here is terrible, and it's been written like that to elicit opinions.
Yes. So if any listeners at home feel like sending sexy naked pictures
don't send me pictures.
Don't send them to us, but you're perfectly welcome to send them to your significant others.
But again,
no matter what Gemma thinks.
Again, I'm going to say to you, it's not illegal, but if something bad happens, you kind of put it on yourself. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. Right, so Lydia at the end of the episode is sitting outside the flat, stalking them and trying to do texts via their Wi-Fi or whatever it is that she's getting up to. So I just still don't understand what's going on there. I understand the Bluetooth thing, but I don't know what she's doing with the Wi-Fi. Anyway, she gets interrupted by Adam leaving the flat in a mood with Sarah hot on his tail. Friday is when it all proper kicks off. Sarah starts the day by getting a phone call from Chariot Square Hotel, and they've found Adam's watch. But it's a woman's watch. What's going on there? This is the least
discreet hotel in Manchester.
You'd have thought that, you used to tell me earlier as well, you'd have thought that hotel staff would have been used to delicate situations like this with their clientele.
Well, they say, you found good news, Mrs Barlow, the watch your husband lost, we found it. Oh, he'll be sad about that. Everyone's given too much information in this scene. He'll be sad about that because that's his dad's watch.
You know, Mike Baldwin.
And the lady's like, oh, madam, this isn't a man's watch. This is a lady's watch. Like, why is everybody telling each other all your life story about where this watch came from?
Because it helps the storyline.
I know it does, but it was like, oh, he'd be so glad to hear about. I don't care, lady. I found a bloody watch. Where do you want me to put it? Don't tell me. Up my bum. I've heard that twice today. Well, you should. Some of the things I found in that room, you wouldn't want back. I'm just telling you that.
Sarah is obviously not very happy to hear this news that her husband has, for some reason, got a lady's watch in his hotel room, and she confronts Adam with this information, and she's not very happy about it, and he says, look, they've obviously got the wrong person, nothing to worry about here, because he at the moment is completely,
it's not his.
Well, yeah, he is not, he's not even trying to be sneaky in hiding it. He's like, I've got literally no idea what you're talking about, honest governor.
Yeah.
So at work, Sarah overhears Lydia talking to Toyah about a man again and all the dusty feelings about him.
Even Toyah's like...
I know.
We've all been there.
Toyah, who herself has been recently cheated on. Tell me about the gossip. I love it.
She was cheating on Dougie Gregg man.
What?
Her husband.
Oh, yeah.
Dougie Gregg man.
Yeah.
She was cheating on him.
They're all as bad as each other.
Peter.
That's why you can't be too mad at Kevin for being a hypocrite. They've all done it on that street.
They've all done it, literally.
Yes. I think that Bessie Street School needs to up their PSHE lessons on relationships.
It's not even like... It's like... Even in an ideal world, you're still going to end up getting hurt somewhere. So why are you doing it?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Lydia checks to make sure that Sarah's listening in on this because it's just to make sure that she's making her feel bad about things.
I try really hard to see everything from lots of different perspectives on the show, but some things I just don't get.
No cheating.
Maybe it's because no one has ever tried to have an affair with me, and maybe I take that personally.
Yeah.
Because what's wrong with me?
What would you say, Gemma?
Why is somebody trying to lure me off you?
Yeah, no. I hope
send me oysters, somebody. See what I do. That would be good. See if you can trap me by sending me presents.
Hopefully no one's cheating on us with Talk of the Street. Tell you what, we'd be so mad. They're great, honestly. Anyway, Sarah... Imran's still narky at Adam as well. He's not back. He's saying, Adam, maybe you should not work here anymore because you're bringing your reputation into the gutter.
I love that.
This business of yours.
Yeah.
He wants it to be Habib Legal Services.
I was offended by Adam saying earlier in the week, oh, it's just a review online. Nobody reads those. having personally given a legal firm a very bad review.
Oh yes,
myself.
We did, didn't we? Our lovely lawyers from last year.
What a bunch of
0
crooks.
stars. They deserved it. Okay, so Sarah tells Lydia about the watch later, and she's like, don't worry, hotels make mistakes all the time. Don't torture yourself, and definitely don't go looking through Adam's receipts or anything, which I thought was a great move, because what do you know? Sarah goes right home, looking through all his bank statements and everything, and this is where she finds some lingerie that's some very expensive lingerie that he's apparently bought, as well as like some expensive hotel fees and everything. So,
well, this was really funny because Sarah's looking at his receipts, and first of all, she says, "Oh, he spent £60 on a haircut. Oh wait, yeah. Can't wait to tell David about that." Yeah. And then she sees he spent £135 on lingerie, and suddenly she's like, "Adam's cheating on everybody in this family. He's cheating on David with his haircut. He's cheating on my business buying his pants somewhere else."
Yeah, that's true. I want to know.
He's like, "Adam, it's not about the sex, it's about the business, okay?"
I love how Adam spent £60 on a haircut. I didn't even know you could get men's haircuts for £60. Like, I have my haircut today, £13, and it's fine. Gemma says it looks much better, actually. Yeah? What do you get for £60?
You'll never know.
He doesn't even have a little quiffy poof like Gary. If somebody said that Gary spent £40 on getting his hair done up like that, I'd like, maybe
but he's got
a bit of product in there.
Shaved sides. Imagine if he had to spend 40 quid every time he got his sides shaved.
I got my sides shaved today.
No, Gary, isn't he like baldy around the edges
and
then quiffy on the top?
Yeah. Do you think that's what he does when he goes in?
Comes
baldy
in.
around the edges, please, David. Quiffy on the top.
How can I help you, sir? Oh, yes, the baldy quiff look. Very popular these days.
Yeah. Anyway.
And you just go in and go, "Excuse me, my hair's..."
Cut it and trim it, please.
"Can I have a wife special, please?" And they're like, "What's that?" "It's to shut my wife up. Just cut my hair enough that she'll shut up about it."
I'd one day love to go I just imagine myself one day going to get a haircut and just doing anything other than just trim it and cut it. Can you imagine?
What would it?
I don't know. Even at the very end where they say, "Would you like some product in your hair?" Like, maybe one day I'll say yes. What would they do?
I don't know, Michael. It's the whole
Can you imagine
new
me
world.
coming back from the barbers with something in my hair?
Product.
With a bit of gel or wax or
Ooh,
the thing that other men have. Mate, yeah.
Well,
Die.
You're talking to a woman who, since the pandemic started, has gleefully taken the opportunity to never go to the hairdresser ever again. And you've been my hairstylist the last 2 times I had my hair cut, haven't you?
I haven't.
You just cut my plait off.
Chopped it off, sent it to charity. Yeah. Well, anyway, it seems like no, I'm gonna say David's been cut off as the plait of Adam's hair routine or something. I don't know where I go with that. So I'll carry on with what went on here.
I think if we worked at it, you'd get something, but we haven't got time for it now.
No, I got a new game today. I really want to go back to play. So, Lydia comes round the flat. Oh, no, I'm back. Oh, sorry, I missed
Sarah's
it.
looking at the receipts.
She's looking through the receipts. Then she phones back the hotel and is a bit confused about the charges on his account. And wasn't his client, this crybaby client, supposed to be paying for the room and so on? And the woman checks Adam's account and says, "Oh, no, well, this is something else." And he bought house champagne and oysters. And Sarah starts to put 2 and 2 together with this.
He doesn't even like oysters.
He doesn't even like
And the
oysters.
woman on the phone is like, "Again, madam, I don't
This isn't my
care.
problem, madam.
I'm not interested at all."
Yes. So, see, this is when like I want to have more Debbie scenes in the hotel. Did you know I was looking on Coropedia? I think it was this week, or it might have been last week. Debbie's been in like 3 episodes since the beginning of January.
That's not fair, is it?
This is an insult. Come on,
We
what's
don't
going
know
on
why
with
she's
Debbie?
not in it, but
I hope that they're saving her up for some big stories this year because.
Also,
severe lack of Debbie.
whoever-
She could have brought the watch back to Sarah, couldn't she? She could have just said, "Sarah, I was working at my hotel, found this watch. It's Adam's. Here you go, love."
yeah, and then she could have said something off the cuff like, "He likes his oysters, doesn't he?
Yes.
Anyway, bye." And then the whole thing would have been resolved. We would have got Debbie in the scene, and we wouldn't have had a hotel receptionist who accepts phone calls from strange women and reads itemised bills from a man that might not even have anything to do with her.
I did enjoy the phone call. I thought that tonight's episode was great with the Sarah Lou stuff, and I thought that the phone calls were quite funny, and just it gave you a chance to see the realisation dawn on Sarah's face. I still really, really rate Tina O'Brien as an actress.
She was
and
great.
Today was classic.
She was good.
She was really, really good today.
I did really enjoy this Detective Sarah Barlow trying to work out how many crimes her husband's committed, and she's like, but he doesn't wear women's watches and he doesn't eat oysters. None of this makes sense. And £60 for a haircut.
Who's he trying to impress with that?
I've got to tell David he can charge more. David's going to be like, bloody hell, I charged £15. I thought I was ripping him off.
Right, I'm lost again. So, Sarah puts the phone down on this woman.
£14?
£13 for a haircut.
13, that's an odd number.
Yes, literally. It is an odd number. Anyway, Adam's in the shop later. He's buying some wine for Sarah. Nothing really happens from that. Oh no, he goes back with it later, doesn't he? Lydia comes round the flat. Had Sarah invited Lydia around, or was she just sneaking around? I can't remember. It doesn't matter anyway, because Sarah asks her straight, "Are you having an affair with Adam?" And Lydia's like, "Oh yes, I'm so sorry. I thought I'd got out of my system, but I just couldn't help myself. Sorry."
Both of us were just so in lust with each other.
Yes, and Sarah is absolutely gutted at this, obviously. Lydia says, "Oh, Adam just wouldn't give up on me. He's like Rick Astley."
This is karma, Sarah.
Sarah's reaction to this whole reveal was just to be uber sarky, wasn't she? She was like, "Oh, I suppose you couldn't just help yourself dropping your knickers and all this." She was so funny. But I don't know, I thought that she might be a bit more upset. She threatened to launch herself at her and slap her face. I kind of would have liked to have seen that.
I would have just been outraged by the audacity of this woman to have been parading it in front of my nose all this time and making a mug out of me.
Sarah was just more interested in making hilarious quips.
Yeah. I don't think... I think I would have just resorted to physical violence immediately.
And swearing. Lots and lots of
swearing. I would have definitely sworn at her a few times and called her... maybe I would have called her a strumpet.
We didn't even get a bitch out of this.
I know.
Did we? Come on, Sarah Lou. And we know that she can be a bit of a feisty one. We've seen her having tussles on the sofa with David when they were little. She could. Anyway, maybe that is still to come. If we get through this whole story and there isn't a cat fight between Sarah and Lydia, I will be disappointed.
Now, normally people get mad at these kind of things where, and it seems like a bit of a normal reaction for the person who's been cheated on to get more mad at the cheater who cheated with their partner than the partner themselves.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, I think Sarah's got every right to be mad at both of them, because Lydia, in a sense, cheated on Sarah too by pretending to be her friend.
Yes.
While she's also
unforgivable,
going on and on about this affair all the time. The gall of it.
The gall of it. I can imagine you there as you're Una Sharples and Martha going, "Oh, the very gall of it."
I'm more of a Blanche myself, I think.
Anyway, Adam comes in right at the right moment with his wine or champers or whatever it is that he's got, and Lydia says, "Adam, the gig's up. Sarah knows about our affair."
Love this so much, it's so hilarious.
And Adam's reaction is not to go, what are you talking about? He just kind of stares because it's time for the advert break, and we just need
and everybody goes, "So that's what it costs. That's what it looks like to get a £60 haircut."
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, when we return to Adam, he's got no idea what she's talking about. She's just confessing to this affair that he's got no knowledge of. And Sarah says, "Well, look at these bank statements, Adam. This is looking very incriminating for you, Milado." And Lydia says, "Oh, by the way, Adam, I'm ending it now. This isn't working." And Adam's just left with his head reeling. What the hell have I was walked into? Can I go out and come back in again?
We're not dating. What are you talking about? And then Lydia says, "You always said that you would deny it if we ever got found out." It's just hilarious.
It was very funny. Sarah tries to sling Adam out along with Lydia, but he stays around for a little bit and tries to convince her it's a load of baloney. Why would I be trying to get you pregnant if I was having an affair?
Yeah, a man has never done that before.
No, and Sarah's like, "I want to believe you, but this evidence really is quite damning." He says that he loves her.
She's like, "But you don't like oysters, Adam. Explain that then."
Yes, she orders him out.
I think this whole thing is down to the Chariot Square Hotel.
Why?
Because they told her on the phone what his order was, which is wrong. They phoned up and said, "We found a woman's watch in your husband's room," and she said, oh God, that doesn't make any sense. And they didn't say, oh, I'm sorry, my mistake. I'll phone Adam on his personal mobile phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you were the receptionist and you phone up someone's wife and go, here's your watch, and they're like, I don't have a watch like that, you go, oh, I must have made a mistake. Could you ask Adam to phone me back immediately, please? You know, wouldn't you do, like...
Yeah.
And also, they let a random woman charge oysters and champagne to somebody else's room without even double checking or getting her to sign a slip or anything, and then they just let her throw them in the bin.
Bet they've got bad reviews on TripAdvisor as well.
They need security is bad.
Yes, absolutely. So Adam catches up with Lydia outside the Rovers later, and he's like, do you still fancy me or something? Why are you doing this to me? You've messed up my life. And she says, well, no, you messed up my life when we dated. And he's like, this is a million years ago.
I barely remember dating you.
I think that's the point, isn't it? She's like, this meant nothing to you, but it meant everything to me. I'm still in the back of my head thinking, are they going to go down the route somehow where this kid of hers, who is far too young, but never mind, is maybe Adam's?
Well,
I don't know.
the only thing that makes sense.
Because she was saying, he's going, what do you mean? How did I... It was nothing. It was
like
less than nothing, this fling. But she won't say, will she? She just says, well, it was important to me, actually. I'm going to dismantle your life now, piece by piece.
Just like you did to me.
Yes. And so he stalks her down the street and tries to grab her arm.
Beat her up.
Big mistake there. Come on, Adam. You don't grab a lady like that. And
she's no lady.
But, of course, who's there to watch? It's David. And he's... And she makes this big thing about it, going, "Oh, don't hit me, Adam!"
Don't
and
do
David's
it again.
like, "If you've had an affair, well, don't you take it out on her, actually."
Well, if you want a witness to somebody pretending to domestically abuse you, David's your man.
Yes, indeed. So he phones up Sarah to tell her what he saw. Lydia comes round, all desperate again at the end of the episode.
Oh, I'm really sorry, Sarah. Please forgive me.
Sarah ends up throwing various items
Here's
from
some
around
peanuts.
the kitchen.
No, I'm allergic.
That was funny.
That was really funny because, like, Sarah throws a leek, and then she throws an alarm clock, and then she throws nuts. And the only ones that Lydia objects to is the peanuts on the basis that she's allergic.
Gemma, she's just trying to spread a little peanut-shaped happiness. That's a David Platt thing, isn't it? Remember when he threw nuts at Gail?
It runs in the family.
Something about a Platt that you just makes you want to throw peanuts.
Don't give them
somewhere.
peanuts; they throw them at you.
Anyway, Lydia goes and Sarah has a bit of a cry at the door. She has a bit of a collapse, doesn't she? Oh, it's all going wrong for me. And that's where we've left.
I want a fight.
So this was a lot of fun today. This story that's been a bit silly and a bit draggy-on-y is now good.
Oh, I always knew it was heading to something quite fun and dramatic, and I love this. Sarah, like, being gaslit, but she doesn't know who's doing it. Like, she thinks it's Adam who's doing it, but it's actually Lydia.
Yeah.
I love it. Because, like, what if you're Sarah, you really don't have any choice but to believe Lydia. Because why would anyone be that crazy? And also, how has all this evidence appeared? Like, how do you explain it? You really can't. You can't explain it, and Adam has no plausible explanation because he's been completely blindsided by all of this.
Yeah, he's not like able to.
How can you say it wasn't me when you don't even know what happened?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's great, and
it's very silly. It's very hammy. It is again.
Soapy.
I'm not keen on the whole bunny boiler. Aren't women mad? For blokes.
And I still think that with other characters that I cared a little bit more about the relationship of, it could have hit better.
Yeah. But there aren't that many relationships that are that.
No, not particularly. Not particularly.
And if you're gonna like break up a relationship, you might as well do it in a kind of spectacular fashion like this.
I just think that if I'm comparing like this to the Abby and Kevin reveal, and then comparing it to the split between Fizz and Tyrone last year, that one, especially in that mega long scene that they had last year, that felt a whole lot more real and, and raw, and I cared about that so much more than I do about this. But for the drama, and you can't get much better than the projectile leak, can you? So I thought it was great stuff. Now, I wonder, and you also thought this after I'd written it down, Adam, you really need to start recording conversations that you're having with Lydia. If he'd have had his phone recording,
yeah. She basically said, she didn't outright admit it, but she basically said, "Yeah, this is punishment for what you've done to me."
Yeah, exactly.
And she's never going to do that again. And might have been more interesting if she had just played dumb.
Yeah.
But I guess the audience needs to hear her remind everybody that she does have a motive. Even though this motive I still feel is very, very shaky. And I don't know, it would have been a lot more powerful if they'd have been able to do this story with a character that already existed in the show. Like exactly what happened with Tracy and Charlie Stubbs.
Yeah, definitely that would have been better. But oh well, I think he still might try and record her at some point, because he's not going to give up on this. His whole life has just been brought crashing down, and he's not going to say, "Well, I tried her once. Don't know what. I'm out of options now." So if I was him, that's what I would maybe do. Try and do a bit of sneaky recording. I'd also try and get Mr. Crybaby to back me up and say, "We didn't have oysters that night. There was nobody else there. Did I give any clue at all that I had another woman just waiting for me in the hotel?" I think he might be able to back him up, maybe. And also, my other thing about this is I've got a prediction here.
Yeah.
And I told you this earlier, but pretend I didn't and just react as if I didn't.
Okay.
Because I don't make predictions on the podcast very much. Usually I just say, well, it's obvious what's going to happen.
And then it
doesn't. But right, what I reckon is what's going to happen. Lydia's next stage on this is going to be to say that she's pregnant from her affair with Adam, and she's going to get some fabricated pregnancy tests or something like that.
Yep.
But then, and this goes back to a theory that people had a couple of months ago in this story, we're going to find out that actually Adam is firing blanks. And he's not fertile, and maybe that is how Lydia's going to get caught out, by saying Adam got me pregnant, and then he says, "Ha! See, it tells this piece of paper tells me that I can't get anyone pregnant," and then that's how she's gonna get caught out. Maybe that's a good idea. That
would be quite a fun twist.
Yeah,
and then that's a good twist, because that's her own lies becoming her undoing, isn't it?
Yes. Because they're going to be fine at the end of this, aren't they? I've got no worries at all about the future of Adam and Sarah.
Really, I don't care either way.
I don't say I care. I don't care whether they split up or not. I mean, there's nobody that at the moment that I'm thinking, oh, Adam would be so much better if he was paired up with so and so, or the same with Sarah. I don't particularly care about their relationship, but I think eventually she's going to get caught out. I hope that they. Now that she's properly been outed as a villain, I hope that they really, really go down the proper bunny boiler. I mean, I'm hearing all this stuff about Mina off Emmerdale at the moment, where she's like full-on psycho villainess.
I do like.
I want to see Lydia go down that route people. Now. Just for a little bit. Not like, it doesn't need to be a 6-month run or anything. Just let us have an exciting explosion around Easter time or something, and then we'll say no more.
So Lydia's setting up these fake phone conversations, text message conversations between her and Adam on these two phones. Do you reckon Sarah might twig immediately that they're not real by saying no, because Adam doesn't send sexy text messages, he just sends me a picture of his penis.
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't believe these aren't real.
I don't know. That's probably going to come out next week, isn't it? I want to know what's going to happen. Like, is Lydia going to turn up at work on Monday morning?
Yeah, and probably Sarah will be like, "What are you doing here? Get out!" She'll be like, "No, it's not fair. He came on to me. I tried to end it with him so many times, Sarah. You know." The thing is, Lydia did herself no favours, but all the time she's talking about this bloke and saying about them running around together and everything. She didn't really say anything about how sympathetic she was to the woman. Yeah,
that's true.
I just think the whole thing's mad.
I think that maybe Lydia will turn up at work on Monday. Sarah's going to kick off and say, "What are you even doing here?" Lydia will quite rightly say, "Well, you can't actually sack me for this." Then she'll probably go enough and have a cry, because she's already got the sympathies of Sean, hasn't she? I don't think there's anybody else that particularly sympathises with her. Beth never sympathises with her.
I just want to point something else out. Actually, she could fire her, because we do have very strong labour laws in this country, and after 2 years you can't really fire somebody for very much. But before the 2 years are up, you can be fired for almost any reason, really, as long as it's not discrimination. And being a skank is not a protected category.
So I think that she might try and get Sean to be her buddy, maybe even Toyah. Although is Toyah getting to side with somebody who's been having an affair? I don't know. Sean hasn't. Anyway,
isn't Sean has not got the greatest morals, but he's loyal to his friends, and I think he would say, I don't think that you can expect Sarah to trust you or want to work with you after you rubbed it in her nose for weeks on end that you're having an affair with her husband.
I don't know. I think he's a bit of a softie. I think he would.
A softie? What? Yeah, but there's another person to be sympathetic here in this situation, and it's Sarah. She's the victim.
But I just think that what we saw between those two, between Lydia and Sean this week, might be setting up an alliance for next week for her. Possibly.
Anyway, just to remind everybody, because we might be losing sight of this ourselves a little bit, Adam and Lydia are not having an affair in real life. It's fine.
No. She's
just pretending because she's mad.
I wonder whether the news of this affair, what that effect that's going to have on Imran because of Adam working with him, and he's obviously trying to hide his own one night stand.
Adam will say something to Imran along the lines of, "I would never do that to my wife. You'd have to be a disgusting animal to cheat on somebody who you love with all your heart."
Don't mention Carla.
Don't bring up any other things. Next question.
Right, Gemma, I'm going to pass back to you.
The next person who's going to be giving bad reviews to Barlow Solicitors Limited is Sarah Barlow herself. Yeah.
Pass on over to you now, Gemma. The Portuguese Nana War. What? I was another option for the storyline was going to be the Portuguese tug of war because they're trying to.
Nana War's funny because it's Nana.
Yeah, rather than Manna. Yeah, because they're tugging between Joseph and Chesney, and Right, go on.
What they need to do is what you do with a dog, the classic run to the one you love.
They pretty much did do that this week, didn't they? I can't remember whether it was Monday or Wednesday.
It was run to the one you love, interspersed with, I'm going to slag the other person off to you and hope that you don't realise what I'm doing.
Yes. Right, go.
On Monday, Linda offers to pay for Joseph to go to holiday club, and Bernie's not happy about it and tells Gemma that Lydia gets right up her hooter, and she's not jealous about her, she just doesn't like her lording it over everybody else. And Gemma says, you need to play nice with her or else.
That reminded me, another option for the storyline title for this was something along the lines of Money Lender, because it sounds like Money Lender.
She's not lending anyone money though, she's giving it.
Wow, good job we didn't go with that then, innit?
It is a bit. Lydia and Joseph get back later and he finds out that he's lost his bedroom because two of the quads have got a tummy bug and they need to be quarantined and something or other, and so he has to sleep on the floor, and then
he gets a sofa at least.
Oh yeah, he has to sleep on the sofa. You have written Lydia all over the place, haven't you?
Oh yeah, look, I've written Lydia. See, I can't.
Linda offers to take Joseph back to the hotel to stay with her, and Bernie's seething, even though she kind of admits it, lets it happen. Then later on, Cleo.
Thank you for the pronunciation there. Do it one more time. Cleo
is sticked up all over Joseph's jeans and he doesn't know what he's going to wear to the hotel. Linda takes him to the cafe and starts asking him about how much he remembers his mum and living in Portugal. Bernie is behind the counter serving. She's getting all sarcastic. Fizz comes in and Linda wastes no time letting her know what a bad influence...
I've just written Lydia all over this.
If I say Lydia... Everybody.
It's my fault and she
No,
means
it's not.
Linda.
No, I could have just said it wrong anyway because I say the wrong names all the time. Fizz comes in.
Just testing you.
And Linda starts telling her what a bad influence Hope has been on Joseph. And Fizz gets really mad and tells her that Joseph stole money out of her purse the other week and says, people in glass houses should keep their big gobs shut, which I think is absolutely right. They go home later and Linda asks Chesney about the purse thieving incident and he's like, kids, just kids. And she says, look, if you think that's normal behaviour, then there's something wrong going on here because thieving is wrong. And there's no doubt it's...
Portuguese children don't steal.
No, they don't. They eat custard tarts and they play nicely.
Well, they made a reference to Portuguese custard tarts this week.
Oh, she goes, oh.
We love a good Portuguese custard tart in this house.
In Portugal, we custard tart, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, shut up. We know. You get them from Lidl.
Have we still got a box of them in the freezer
downstairs? Yeah, we
do. Love them.
We've been getting those from Nando's for like a decade, Linda. You're not special.
They're much better than English egg custard tarts, aren't they? Because I don't like them with
Shut
a
up! That's what Linda
top.
was saying. You got to defend your country's honour here.
No, Portuguese all the way.
Sometimes I like just a plain old English custard tart, though, because it's nice and refreshing, especially when they're nicely cold from the fridge. I like
Don't
it.
like the nutmeg particularly.
Whoa. Don't like nutmeg.
I'd rather not.
Rather not. Okay, so Linda puts her cards on the table and says Joseph should come to Portugal to live with me. And Chesney's like, no way. And Linda says, look, I know it's going to be hard, but this could be a fresh new start for Joseph. He's changed so much since he used to live with me and Katie. He'd be so happy. And I'm rich and stuff, and I've got a pool. And Chesney's like, no, he's not going to live anywhere else. I'm his dad. He's living with me. And Gemma's listening at the top of the stairs. Then Bernie and Linda have a showdown in the street, which Chesney has to break up. And Linda's doing all the whole come to the one you love, and Chesney's like, I think Benny's like, get him inside before he runs off to Nana Linda.
Bloody Linda.
Chesney takes Lydia to the cafe, and
Linda.
She says, let Joseph
I didn't even
choose.
realise I've done this so much.
Let Joseph choose, and Chesney says, no, you're not coming over anymore. That's the end of it. Back home, Joseph overhears Gemma saying that she's worried about him as well, and that he would have a lovely life in Portugal, and she can see it from Linda's point of view, but maybe we can make him happy here. We just need to work a bit harder. And Joseph doesn't hear that, but he just hears that he should go and live with his nan. Gemma tries to explain this to Joseph later, but the message he's taking away is that Portugal is better than here. Chesney finds Joseph in a strop on the sofa, and Chesney says to him that Linda should not have ever suggested that he goes to live in Portugal with her, and this is his house and it always will be, but Joseph says he wants to live with Grandma Linda. Wednesday.
Yes.
Chaos in the kitchen. Chesney tries to talk to Joseph about what he said last night, and he says, look, give us another chance. We'll find a way to pay for all this stuff that you want. I'm sorry we haven't done a good job. And Joseph's like, But then he sits down and he's obviously sad about how sad his orphan life is. Linda comes and finds Gemma in the pub later, and she goes on about, it must be really hard having four biological kids. And Gemma's like, actually, I have 5.
Well, she says 4 kids, and then Gemma says, actually, I have 5. And Linda's like, oh, sorry, I meant biological kids.
I meant biological kids.
Joseph's not really yours, is he? He's mine.
And
he's got the Armstrong blood in him.
Gemma accidentally blurts out that Joseph wants to go and live with her. So hang on, Linda was Owen's wife. Well, they definitely had kids.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Owen and Linda?
He's a man's man, isn't he?
I cannot imagine it, ever.
No.
She looks like this sort of woman who marries a solicitor and then bakes pies all day long.
Takes all sorts, Gemma. Different strokes for different folks is what I say.
It takes a world to make a world.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. Bernie goes to Dev and she wants to draw a line under their dispute and agrees to come to work for an extra £1 an hour, which is a heck of a pay rise. Izzy gets a little cameo on the phone telling Linda not to take Joseph to Portugal because it's too much for her.
I thought that was lovely.
It was nice to see
I'm very glad
Izzy.
that we had Izzy back again.
She was on the FaceTime.
Yeah, it would have been very odd to have had her mum back on the programme for her not to make a little cameo. I don't know whether this is kind of the beginning of another little spate of Izzy appearances or what, because I still don't know. We don't know the status of Shirley's.
Well, she can record if she's. I don't know what her health is like.
No,
but if she's healthy, she can record things. And it'd be nice.
It was really, really nice. It was a nice little surprise appearance. Again, I'm still waiting for more Fergus. It just makes me wonder. Were they ever going to try and put Fergus and Izzy together? Oh no, I want to know whether he's going to put them together, and she's just waiting for Shirley to be able to come back to work properly. I don't know, but yes, very nice to see her.
Bernie and Linda have another to do in the pub, and Linda hammers home again her idea that because Joseph is her flesh and blood, not Bernie's, she has more right to decide what to do with him, and then she goes off with Dev. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting all this week, the kind of undertone of the theme of this story is children and who is a family and who isn't, because you've got Elsie being adopted, you've got Jack being adopted, you've got Joseph, and is he being looked after? Does Gemma love him? Gemma and Benny, can they ever possibly love him as much as their own? And Linda saying there's definitely something in the fact that he's my flesh and blood, and also probably the idea that that's all she's got left of Katie in the world, and it is very interesting to me. I find it very interesting. On Friday, Chesney goes on moaning about Linda when Joseph says, "Can I go and have the day with Granny Linda?" And he storms off. Gemma comes home later and tells Chesney that they can't stop Joseph from seeing Linda, and it's not his fault. Poor Joseph. So Chesney takes Joseph to meet Linda in the cafe, and she says, "I'd love to spend more time with you, but you moving to Portugal is down to your dad, not me." And then Joseph mopes around and says that Chesney and Gemma never have time for him, and she's obviously very sympathetic. And
she's doing it on purpose, like, "Oh yes, your situation here is really dreadful, isn't it? Oh, it's so sad. It would be with me in Portugal."
Chesney tells Joseph that at some point Linda's going to go off him and she's not going to have time for him, and then Linda does the same kind of thing to Joseph about Chesney, saying, "Oh yeah, your parents, they don't have time for you. I would have time for you." So both Chesney and Linda are absolutely dire arseholes, using this poor child and poisoning the other person, and they're not doing it in reaction to the other one doing it, because neither of them know that they're having these private conversations and telling Joseph this, that and the other thing. This poor boy is so confused, because now he probably doesn't feel like he can trust anybody.
No.
Because he's just waiting for him to be abandoned.
Yeah, so tragic.
I feel really, really bad for this poor kid.
Yeah, and it certainly, the story works well for Joseph as a character, because he is a very Orphan Oliver kind of looking lad,
isn't he?
He's got great
cheekbones.
Yeah, I think I was like, I don't know where Linda gets off with this week, really, because why does she think that she has the right to just come in and swoop in and take Joseph away? Did you really think that Chesney was just going to roll over and say, "Oh yeah, actually that is a good idea, we have got quite a few kids under this roof at the moment, please do take one off our hands"? I don't think
she's being very unreasonable here, because she's like come into this chaos and said, "Look, I can help you, I can give this kid a better life."
Taking a child away from their parents,
but they're not spending any time with this poor kid, and he feels guilty for every penny that gets spent on him, and he's not thriving. I don't agree that Linda has a right to take him if his parents don't want him to go, but I certainly understand her offering, and I don't think it's that weird. Like, in human history, it was far more common for people to send kids off to relatives when the house got overwhelmed. I think that it's kind of
uproot the lad. He's got his friends over here, and yes, he's got.
They've
some
already
friends
uprooted him by having 4 babies with no plans to be able to how to pay for him.
I just think that Linda's been. I don't agree with her that he's going to move over to Portugal and everything will be fine, and he'll get back with his old friends from what? How long has he been on the show now? 2, 3, 4 years? I can't remember.
I bet he can't remember a word of Portuguese anymore.
Exactly. He's just going to be a total fish out of water and completely on his own there with this granny that he used to live with for a decent chunk of his early years. No, he's much better off here with Chesney and Gemma.
I think it's a toss-up as to where he's better off.
And he's got his mates, like
the
Jack.
ones that pick on him at school. He's been bullied at school.
Hope.
He don't have 2 pennies to rub together. He doesn't even have his own bedroom anymore. They're trying their best, but they're not doing a very good job.
Putting him in a different education system where I don't know whether he went to an international school over in Portugal, but all of his English that he's probably getting a lot better at now is going to count for nothing over there. I think I do not think it's at all for the best for him if he goes back over there. Oh, there is a swimming pool. There's a pool. That's true.
Also they have Portuguese custard tarts, and they don't even call them Portuguese custard tarts. They just call them custard tarts.
So I think if Chesney and Gemma ever do back down, which they may well do next week, the way this is going, and say, "Oh, actually, yeah, that's fine. Can you take him off our hands, please?" I'll be very disappointed in them. Because, it's an easy fix to say, God, I'm really struggling with all these kids at the moment. Yeah, maybe it is nice, but poor Joseph is going to feel like his parents are disowning him.
No, because he wants to go and live there. I think they should say, you can go there this summer. You can go and live with Granny Linda for the whole summer, and you can decide if you like it.
Trial period.
Or like every holiday, he goes and stays there.
Kids don't know what they want.
I know
if you were to say to somebody, would you want to go and live in Disney World or whatever, obviously they'd say yes. But once you get there, then you're a little bit sick of Mickey Mouse after a week.
Nobody knows what they want. That's why we voted for Brexit.
I think that Chesney needs to put his foot down and say, thanks for the offer, Linda, but sod off, go back to Portugal.
Why don't you give us money?
And was it Izzy that said to her, look, why don't you just move over to Weatherfield? And she's like, oh no, I've got my business. Well, if your family is so important, that's more important than your business back in Portugal. I'm sure it's been doing fine without you for the past 2 weeks. You can do it all remotely.
Why just bloody retire?
Yeah.
Granny Linda.
So, yeah, I'm definitely on Chesney's side here.
I can't be mad at Linda for coming into what she's seen and saying, I would really prefer my daughter's only son to have a better life.
If it was a case of, neither Chesney nor Gemma were blood related to Joseph, she might have a bit more of a leg to stand on.
She doesn't have a leg to stand on at all because she's the grandmother, and grandmothers in law in this country have no rights, unfortunately.
Well, yeah.
It's interesting how I would have thought you would have loved the opportunity to get rid of one of these superfluous children. I think Chesney should turn around and say, look, Linda, you're not having Joseph because he's cute and he's bringing in the viewers, but you can have these 4 useless little toddlers.
Well, exactly. I don't think that Coronation Street are going to be in any hurry in getting rid of young Master Flanagan there, because especially with what's her face playing Hope as well. They come as a pair, so that's the other thing that I've got in mind. Well, even if he does go, he's not going to be there for a bit because they want to keep him on the cast.
How would you feel though if you walked into this and you had a relative and you could see, like, you go home to your villa with a pool and like all your spare bedrooms and your fancy giant fridge full of custard tarts, and then you go and see this pokey little...
They do eat other things in Portugal, like Nando's.
They eat Nando's, yeah. That's from South Africa. Yeah. Okay. And then, you come into this little house and there's 3 adults, 5 children in a 3-bedroom terraced house. I don't even know where they all sleep.
No.
And then, he's only got 1 pair of jeans and a kid's been sick on them. He doesn't get any attention.
A hole in his jumper.
It's nobody's fault. And I would imagine if you speak to lots of children who were raised in a similar chaotic and kind of poverty-stricken family, even though they would have suffered from not having that much attention or money, they would still say, I'd rather we were together than separated.
Yeah,
definitely. Exactly. But if I was Linda, I can definitely see why I'd be like, look, why don't I just take him with me?
Yeah. Now, before we move on, Gemma, would you like to say anything about some superb camera work / direction on Monday's episode with that Chesney and Linda scene? Because I didn't notice this.
I can't remember what I said.
You said it was great. You said there was the bit where there was Chesney and Linda speaking to each other, and it
they
looked like
talking,
they were at a little frame
and
around
it was
them.
being the camera was like behind some parts of the set, so that there was like curtains or like bits of furniture framing them, so that it looked like they were distanced even more from each other and they weren't listening to each other properly.
Yeah, nicely done. I would also like to say geocaching. It's fun.
Well, again, this is like a Rick Rolling thing where it's like, this would be good and relevant 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Is geocaching back though? Because we used to love doing geocaching.
Yeah, and then they made the app. You had to pay for it. You used to be able to do geocaching for free. It was brilliant. We used to go around the New Forest and find all little boxes of tat, didn't we?
I remember me, my mum and dad pacing up and down this random street in Winchester trying to find We still never found it.
Oh yeah, I think I remember this.
And just looking like we were doing a drugs deal or something. But I think at that point everyone knew what geocaching was and they knew what we were doing.
It was so much fun, and I don't really like going out walking, but I enjoyed geocaching.
You don't like walking?
Not particularly. But geocaching was fun. It's like a little treasure hunt in the street, wasn't it? So, yeah. Nice little shout out.
Well, we don't need
there,
geocaching anymore because we've got Pokemon Go and Pikmin Bloom.
True. Right, Gemma, are you hungry for some beef and red wine stew? Because that storyline is coming up next.
Do you mean beef bourguignon?
Yes. Right, here's Abby doing a little purring into the microphone as well.
Yes.
So, this is an odd story. It's like, is this going somewhere at the beginning of the week? But I actually spread over the 3 whole days, and it seemed like massive filler, didn't it? But I thought it was quite fun.
Stu, on Monday, gets 30p an hour pay raise.
Yeah.
Now, don't let him know what Bernie's got.
I know he's going to want an extra pound, doesn't he? Yeah. So he wants to do something to say thank you to Yasmeen.
I don't want to be rude, but I think that Stu's job is more skilled and more integral to the success of a restaurant as he's the chef.
Yeah.
Than Bernie, who slaps your change on the counter and tells you to get out.
He wants to start paying rent for Yasmeen, and she agrees to £50 a week because he kind of guilts her into it. Well, no, that's not the right word. He begs to be able to pay her, doesn't he? Because he's such a nice guy.
This just feels very. This is what is it? A very insular money system here.
Well,
because Yasmeen goes, here's your money, and she goes, here's your rent. You might as well just knock the middleman out.
Yeah. Well, you know what's going on at the speed dial with all their money laundering that there's been recently. It's all dodgy.
That's
there,
true.
Isn't it? What's going on with
Zidane
and Alia
today,
at the
where's
moment?
Zidane? Where's Alia?
I don't really want to know the answer to that question. I think we've summoned them now by mentioning them. So be prepared for wall to wall Zidane and Alia next week and total.
Where's
boredom.
Ryan?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where's
Yasmeen's just running the whole place herself. Anyway, so Stu goes into the Rovers later with his jaunty cap on.
Where's Mary?
And he's going to spend some of his hard-earned wages.
Rita?
Shut up. And he ends up getting some of Tracy's bitchiness. I can't remember what she says, but she basically tears him a new one.
This would have been important
takes
because
the rip out of him for being homeless.
This is like the genesis of the whole week's action, and we don't know what it was that she said.
She's just being an arse to him, wasn't she?
She's
being
like,
horrible to him for being a recently...
You were temporarily unhomed.
Yes, and now you're homed, but I'm still going to make fun of you. And that's basically Tracy.
What he says, oi, food banks, what are you up to?
Jenny's there saying, look, don't rise to it. But he gets a bit tipsy, and on the way home from the pub, he steals a box of wine that Ken has had delivered to him for Tracy.
Not just any
to
box
do some
of wine.
Wine tasting. It's fancy wine.
It's a wine tasting course in a box.
Yes. So they've got some late night delivery going on in Weatherfield, and
well, also you're not allowed to leave. You have to have if you deliver alcohol, you have to have a signature.
Never mind that; it's different
not
in Weatherfield. The law works differently. So he's got Tracy's wine basically, and he puts his plan into action on Wednesday, which involves buying a load of cheap, dodgy wine off a dev that he doesn't want.
This wasn't his plan. He just saw the wine and stole it to get her back.
Yeah.
But then he hatches a plan on Wednesday when he sees Dev.
Cheap box of wine.
Yes.
And he says, I'll take the whole lot off your hands, it's fine. And then Yasmeen catches Stu later on trying to steam the labels off these bottles. And he lies and he says, I'm just trying to make them into candle holders. And she's like, oh yeah, fine, that's fair enough to me. Although at first she says, we don't even sell wine here, remember? And then she's like, oh, go for it, whatever. So later on, and Stu...
So again, now he's bought the wine to swap with Tracy.
Yes.
Now he's got to buy more wine for fake candle holders.
Yeah, I know. What's he going to do about that, I wonder?
This little
I've
prank
changed my mind.
has cost Stu more money than I'd ever spend on Tracy already.
But he did it for the lols, Gemma. You can't put a price on that when you're a cheeky chappy homeless guy.
He's not homeless.
So he puts the swap wine back outside number one. Mary says, brilliant, thank you very much, I'll take it to Tracy. So later on, they're on their wine tasting evening, and that's Mary, Tracy and Steve. Steve's a bit disappointed it's not a booze up.
Yeah, because they have to take notes and give scores, and they're supposed to spit it in a bucket.
Yes. Then Stu gets Yasmeen a brazier and she thinks she's saying brazier, and that was a bit weird. But they'll basically, Stu and Yasmeen end up having a nice sit around the fire later, and Yasmeen says,
I think it's...
that the wine's lovely, thanks very much.
I thought this was quite funny because Stu, he's like, I'm going to get you a brazier.
He did say it in a strange way, didn't he?
He
You were like, what did
definitely
he say
was
that
told
for?
to say it so that you don't know what he's just said.
Yeah.
But he's also, he gets it so that Yasmeen and he can enjoy sitting outside.
Mm.
What's the point of having a house if you're going to sit outside with a bin on fire? You could have done that when you were homeless, Stu.
He's just giving her a taste of his culture.
It's like, this is what it was like. Do you like it? We also used to drink wine as well.
So they have a lovely wine tasting time, but meanwhile Mary and Steve are tasting the horrible cheap wine and saying it tastes like paint stripper, and Steve spits it out, which is grim, and Tracy tells Mary to get out, and Steve goes with her.
Yeah, she gets mad, and I want to point something out here.
Do it.
This is supposed to be a wine tasting exercise, and they're supposed to be taking notes and looking at what the top notes are and everything. And not one of them noticed that every bottle was the same bottle of wine.
No, I know. It makes sense.
Even I'm pretty sure on the table I saw some white wine bottles there. Did they wonder why they were red?
Friday then, Tracy is having a bit of a wine herself to the people on the other end of the phone.
It's a wine tour.
Yes.
Get it? Wine.
Yes, I get it. And over at Speed Dial, Yasmeen's telling Stu about how great that wine last night was, thank you very much. And I want to go to Dev's and buy some more before it all gets snatched away. And he's like, oh, well, you know, maybe I wasn't being completely truthful about this, Yazzie. Which, if that didn't make her skin crawl because of the reminder of Jeff, I don't know what would. He says... I
thought it was Tracy that called her Yazzie.
Oh, yes, Tracy does call her Yazzie, that's right. That is right, but yeah, Jeff did call her that.
He says, I lied about it.
Yeah, he says, I lied about it. He tells her everything, basically, and she's like, oh, you conned both of us. How could you? You're just as bad as
I was mad
Jeff.
about this, because I said to you earlier in the week, when they were drinking the wine, there's literally no reason for him to lie to Yasmeen about this, because she hates Tracy so much.
I know.
That she'd take any opportunity.
But he doesn't know that she hates Tracy. Maybe
yeah, but
if he had, he would have said...
when she finds this out, she takes the high road and she gets all...
It's all haughty about it.
She does.
Yeah. So Stu goes back round to number one with a box of wine, the real nice tasty wine later, and an apology. And he says, look, sorry about this. It's just a practical joke. Promise to pay Tracy back. And Steve says, oh, don't worry about it. Ken's not had to pay for it anyway now after Tracy's had an irate phone call to the wine people. Come in for a booze up. And Stu says, I will, thank you very much.
Say something else here. Stu has now bought a box of crap wine to give to Tracy, a box of crap wine to make into candle holders, and another box of nice posh wine to replace the wine that Tracy already got. And now Tracy has got free wine off Ken, free wine off Stu, and another box of wine off of the brewery.
He's not bought another fancy nice wine.
Well, he must have replaced the bottle that he drank.
I don't think
he's
going
to pay her
It
back.
was a box of 6 bottles, and I probably just used one of them last night.
Well, he's a lightweight then.
Yeah. Anyway, they go round there, and
this was brilliant.
They have a massive booze up. Ed comes round later, going, "Oh, you got your music on loud. Turn it down, mate."
No, it was great because he's like, "Oh, can you be quiet, please?"
Because
Aggie's on nights, and Steve's like, "The NHS is brilliant, aren't they? The NHS is really good." I wish he'd gone. Do you know what I said to Aggie? Do you know I really missed on Thursdays?
See this rainbow on my window? That's for Aggie.
When we had the thing on Thursdays, is the last time I honestly felt like I was doing anything for society.
So Ed gets dragged into this booze up.
It wasn't hard.
No, not really. And Yasmeen comes round later. She has that scene with Tim, doesn't she? And saying, "Oh, I made the same mistake with Yasmeen as I did with Tim." And Tim says, "Oh, he just has a second chance because he's lovely."
No, he says.
Jeff,
she says, "Yeah, Jeff."
Yeah, Tim says, "Give him a second chance. He seemed nice." Although we didn't even know who he was at the beginning of the scene, so I wouldn't trust his opinion.
Yeah,
on
what
this.
the hell are you talking about?
So, best scene of this was Yasmeen going back to number one later. Tracy answers, also 3 sheets to the wind, which I thought was hilarious. I was expecting the scene where Tracy comes home, finds Ed, Steve and Stu sprawled out on the tables and then gets knickers in a twist about it. But no, she also just wants to have a massive booze up. Totally sloshed. They're all heading off to the pub, and that's where it was. Tracy says, "You want to come to the pub, Yasmeen, babe? It's not far."
I love that scene. That line was absolutely the best line.
And then Stu manages to twist Yasmeen's arm about coming along to the pub as well, but she doesn't look too happy about it. No.
Well, it's not fun to hang around with drunk people, as you know.
Well, no, and also she got accused of being a drunkard just a few years ago, didn't she? When the whole Jeff storyline was going on, so she's I think she's being careful with her alcohol intake. That. Well, she's thinking about other things that Jeff's been doing wrong.
She's just a wet blanket, isn't she? She's just
a party
into a big old nag.
She's kind of seeing Jeff in everyone, isn't she? It's like, oh, Corey's being nasty to Asher. That's Jeff.
Yeah.
Stu stole some wine. That's Jeff. And
yeah.
I guess,
Tracy called me Yazzie.
That's Jeff, yeah. And it kind of makes sense that he's left this lasting impression of her. On
I know,
her.
but it's making her into a killjoy.
Yeah, that's the problem with it a little bit at the moment. Zidane and Alia, you're keeping things from me. That's Jeff. Jeff's dead, Yasmeen. Get over it.
Get over it.
Yeah.
I love any scenes with drunk acting. I thought they did a really good job. I kind of wish that Aggie had been there too.
What's drunk Aggie look like?
I'll just tell them. I'll just say I got COVID. What are they going to do?
Well, sorry, Aggie, but you can't self-isolate anymore.
I think the NHS might have different rules for nurses that work in children's oncology wards.
Aggie just goes wherever she fancies her in the hospital. Spins a wheel. Which ward am I going to work on today?
Don't worry about it. I'm just going to go to the sleep study department, and I'll just go and say, "Can experiment on me."
It was fine. I thought for a throwaway nothing story, it was some light-hearted fun.
You know what it was? It was just nice seeing people being happy.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Actually,
that was
no
it.
Drama or backstabbing,
and everyone's smiling
lying.
and hanging around in a group and having a party.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, it was
very low stakes stuff.
Yeah. Stealing wine.
And I think that Stu is brilliant, and I'm still gutted the fact that he's surely going to have some horrible, tragic, hideous coughing death.
Idiot death.
Although his coughing has magically
cleared right up.
All he had to do was sleep in a proper bed. It feels very.
Maybe he just had the vapours.
It feels like he and Yasmeen are going to get together, and he's actually going to buy a real bra, and then he's going to cop it or something. I don't know.
What cop a feel?
He just seems like too good to be true, doesn't he? He's like Phil.
They all are. All these sad boyfriends and girlfriends.
Or like Arthur with Evelyn. They're lovely. But I think... I want Corey to change his contract, because he maybe was brought in just to do a little bit, and maybe he was going to die, but I want them to realise that he's bloody brilliant and keep him on, because there's not anybody else like him at the moment. A jovial old chap. There's very few OAP kind of age sort of people, men on OAP. Coronation Street at the moment.
I think
Keep Stu on. You think he's what?
He's the littlest hobo, and he's going to go and find another old lady to...
Well, they're letting a real talent slip through their fingers, honestly.
I also love Stu, and I agree with everything you just said, but I really do not see Yasmeen and Stu in a romantic way.
They could.
And I think it would be refreshing if they didn't.
It is looking like it.
And I would also like Yasmeen to go, do you know what, in my time of life, I don't actually need a man anymore.
No,
because
I wouldn't mind.
Lots of women who are in long-term relationships who lose their partner for whatever reason, divorce, death, whatever, chickens, decide actually better off without him.
I just want somebody to put a smile on her face, because, as you say, she's been a bit of a downer.
Even Stu can't do it though.
He's only just warming up though. I think he could. I also just want to mention, I know it's not part of this storyline at all, but Tim was involved. But Sally is off to Gina's today, isn't she? Yes. And then that's the end of that. Right, back over to you then, Gemma. We have got the Daniel, Max, Amy, Jacob mix.
Halo. That's my Beyonce impression. That's really good.
I don't know the actual song that you're referring to.
No, that's how good my...
It's flawless. Perfect rendition.
Monday, Shona is very stern with Max and has had a massive go at him for being the person who's drugging the children. And he's very lucky that it's her that's reading him the right out, because she's got soft touch and David is mad. And he needs to go and apologise to Daniel and go back to school next week. Max sees Daniel in the cafe and says, "Oh, you're coming..." He says, "I'm coming back to school after half term." Because they had taken Max out of school. Because they're like, "We're not letting Max in school when there's a mad drug spiker on the loose." And they haven't like got to the bottom. Like, the school's not got to the bottom of who it was.
No,
or
it's going to look mighty suspicious.
And then David and Shona are like, "Never mind, don't worry about it. Don't ask us any questions. We're not worried about it anymore. I'm sure we'll be fine. It was just probably a one-off." Daniel speaks to Steve about how Amy is, and Steve confirms the police are pretty sure that the spiking happened in school, and there's no news about the video because there's probably something wrong with the SD card. Whatever that is, he says.
Yeah, Steve doesn't know what an SD card is this week.
Daniel goes down to number 8 and asks Max if he could look at the SD card footage because he doesn't believe what Max is saying, and he says it was blank. And he makes it clear that he suspects Max did it and threatens to phone the police. Max begs him to reconsider, and Daniel can see that he's lying. That first of all, he's like, "Oh, I didn't have an SD card in there," and then he says, "Oh, it didn't record. So what is it? Which is it?" He goes to phone the police, and Max confesses it was him, and he didn't want to hurt Amy, but she picked up the wrong drink, and he says, "It was meant for you." And Max seems very remorseful about what he did to Amy, and he made a mistake. And he says to Daniel, "Like you did when you pushed me down the stairs." And Daniel's like, "I'm going. I can't deal with this," and leaves Max to panic alone with his thoughts. Daniel has a chat with Amy later, and she seems ready to move on with her life. So he goes back to number 8 and speaks to David, and he says he heard Max's confession from him, and David says, "Why didn't you tell the police?" And Daniel says it's because Amy's strong, she's going to be okay, and Max getting locked up won't change anything because he just made a mistake, and they all agree they'll never tell anybody.
Nobody will ever know. Daniel, now you're all colluding and involved in the cover-up and everything. Terrible human being, Daniel.
On Wednesday, Amy comes into the cafe looking a bit sad, and Daisy tells Daniel not to worry about her because she's fine. There's also a bit of grammar talk, which was quite nice.
Oh, yes.
Nina and Max talk to Amy in the street, and he tells her to look after herself. And Amy says to Nina that it's a bit weird, the whole thing.
Being drugged and everything.
Nina tells her that she and Roy are there for a pair of sympathetic ears if she needs to talk to anybody. And Nina walks off, and Amy calls Jacob. Did Roy hasn't said...
Roy's not had anything to do with this at this point.
I know, but it's kind of like, if you think about it, how many female characters on Coronation Street have had their drinks spiked?
I don't know. Not many.
I can't think of anybody in the show now. But Roy and David have both been spiked.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
and
Roy being
assaulted.
Spiked. Yeah.
Because Roy, if you didn't know,
there's a scene waiting to happen.
If you didn't know, way back when Tracy.
Yeah, Amy's mum was a spiker herself back in the day.
Tracy she actually spiked Roy's drink
for £1.
As a joke, in inverted commas, and took him back to her room where she tricked him into thinking that they had had sex because he was so drunk and cheated on Hayley, and then actually got her pregnant with Amy, and everybody believed this to the point at which Hayley and Roy were going to adopt Amy and call her Patience. And then it all came out that Amy was actually...
And Roy married Tracy, didn't he?
Yeah.
To try and make sure he's got his claws into her.
So really, I know that David is the one that gave the speech about drugging to Amy, but it should have been Roy.
Yeah. And I don't know whether... I assume
because
that Amy doesn't know this about her mum, that she was also a massive spiker back in the day. I don't even know what Amy knows about Tracy being in prison. I can't remember.
No.
I know that there was a point when she definitely didn't
to even
know.
Bring it up now.
Yeah, I wonder. Ooh,
because the same thing happened to Amy that happened to Roy.
Yeah.
And Roy and Amy could probably relate. Yeah, similar. Relate more than David, because David couldn't really talk about his whole experience with Amy because it would freak her out, because he actually was raped.
Yeah.
And his experience is therefore very different, because Amy's left wondering who, why did they do this? What could happen? I don't know what happened. I don't remember. And that's what Roy had.
Yeah.
Like, nothing did happen to him.
Yeah.
Interesting. Isn't it interesting?
Yes. So interesting.
Sorry.
No, I thought it was. I thought it was interesting. I just haven't got anything to add.
Amy calls Jacob, meets him by the canal side, and he's got...
Oh, this is lovely. I love this so much.
I assume this is not his boat.
Yeah, he's nicked a boat.
He's stolen someone's boat and put a picnic basket in it.
He's gone for the so romantic location of the place where Seb and Nina were
kicked to
nearly
death.
Assaulted. Yeah.
This is the
it's the literal stomping ground.
Teenage drinking ground.
Yeah.
For Weatherfield. But look, be quiet. We're so cynical. They had a nice time.
It was lovely, and the sunset was absolutely gorgeous that
Yeah,
evening. They were very lucky with when they
nice
filmed that.
Time.
Probably very cold when it was filmed, because this would have been like early January, maybe, I reckon, when they filmed this.
Acting. Fairy lights, candles.
It was bloody
wine.
lovely.
He's lovely. They're holding hands. Sunset. He says, we can go anywhere, do anything. Let's have a kiss.
Let's
Wonderful.
keep it secret. And they have a little
Don't
jumper
tell
chase,
anybody.
don't they? He's chasing away with her jumper, and she has to go after him or
Don't
something.
take
like
my
that.
jumper in January.
It was just lovely.
It was very sweet. We're not romantics, but it was very sweet.
No,
It's
we're
cute.
not at all, but we can recognise when there's a cute one going on screen, and this was totally gave me Seb and Nina vibes from this time last year.
Yeah,
and it's
because
making me
they're
think who's
same
going to
location.
get beaten to death now.
Yeah, watch
but
out.
the same romance vibes that you felt from them, I'm definitely getting from Amy and Jacob, and they're doing it yet again with very few scenes, because it didn't take very much at all for people to fall in love with the idea of Nina and Seb last year, did it?
Yeah.
And I think lots of people are thinking this way about those two. Although I'm also seeing I'm seeing a decent amount of Jacob hate still, from like, oh, he was laughing last year about Dead Ollie, and when Leanne was suffering, and I'd kind of forgotten a bit about that, honestly. I just really, really like the character of Jacob, and having him redeemed in the classic Corrie fashion, I've got absolutely no qualms with at all. And
I will say one thing Corrie's not very good at is taking villains and redeeming, like... It's the same thing with Kelly as it is with Jacob at the moment.
Oh, yeah,
like, they're not just reformed, they're the most perfect humans ever, and so thoughtful and kind and generous, and can't believe that they would ever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that it would be more believable if he was also a tiny bit of an arse.
Well, there's still the chance, isn't there? When I still think that, like, he's still got a few contacts in the criminal underworld, because he got those fake IDs very easily the other week, and I wonder whether he's going to be tempted back into the life of crime. But if he was, do you think that Amy has got the nous to notice and keep out of it? Because she's very smart, isn't she? And but also she does love a bad guy, because she went out with Tyler for a bit. She got pregnant from him. But I think that I would hope that she would be sensible enough to spot the danger signs if he does go back down that route. But I don't know. I don't think he will. Although probably, I'm just kind of thinking as I go at the moment, some of his ex-druggy friends, I wouldn't be surprised if they turned
Amy.
up. Well, I think they might turn up on the scene and make. They could have had a bit like in the middle of the picnic that they could have walked past and gone, oh, Jacob, what are you doing? Oh, you got a girl. Oh. I don't know. But it was lovely while it lasted, but sad that it was only a couple of scenes. And I hope that next week maybe we get to see a little bit more of that. Anything to add about the Max story? I'm kind of feeling it's reached a bit of a natural conclusion now, but also thinking at the same time, oh, he's going to go back to school next week, and what sort of situation is that going to be? I thought it was fun when he was threatening phoning the police on Max, and when he was the only one that was able to figure out that he was the spiker. But yeah, I'm a little bit over this story now.
It's just silly.
Why is it silly?
Well, you know why it's silly. Like, the whole thing, oh, I'm going to spike you so you know what it's like to be spiked because you did it Like,
yeah,
it wouldn't,
silly.
even if he had spiked Daniel, it would not have in any way been comparable, would it?
Yeah. I still
The
think...
thing that was wrong with the thing that happened to David was not that somebody put a drug in his drink and he got confused and sick from it, is it? It's what happened because of the drug.
Yeah, but drugging's not good, not okay.
No, it isn't. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
No, I know.
It's not the same thing. There's no logic behind it.
I think that Max should not be getting away with his naughty drugging, but then neither should Daniel be getting away with his naughty pushing. They're just as bad as each other, really. Lock them up and throw away the key.
But Daniel is a teacher, and
so I'm naturally on Daniel's side, and I like the character of Daniel more than Max, so I'm more willing to forgive him.
Max is supposed to be a kid and make mistakes.
Okay.
I don't like the whole thing.
Yeah, right. Speaking of stories that we don't like, we did have a slight resurgence of the Drop Dead Ted storyline this week, which was basically just Craig going to work as a box packer in Underworld, which I'd forgotten that he'd got that job, and I don't know why the massive gap between them agreeing to take him on and him actually starting there.
They've got to check his references.
But anyway, he does a fine job packing. And there was a funny scene where Lydia winds Kirk up and says that he's really on a secret undercover investigation, and Kirk believes her. That was kind of funny.
I thought that was really bitchy of Lydia, because she was like going, "Oh, they wouldn't have a man of his caliber working in a lowly box packing factory." Like, number one, way to shade on Kirk. Number two, don't you think that Craig feels bad enough as it is, having gone from being a policeman to, I don't know what he was doing, fiddling around with plastic on a bit of fabric?
It's not really, I don't think he's using all his skills there, is he?
No.
Anyway, he at the end of the day, they're saying, "Oh, well done, Craig, you've done a lovely job," but he's like feeling, a bit miffed that he's come down to this. And Faye goes home at the end of the day and tells Emma, who's doing yoga for some reason. I don't know why was it Jonathan Harvey that wrote the second episode? Why they decided to have her doing that. But anyway, she's saying, "Oh, Craig's not liking this new job, and it's all our fault that he's doing it because we're the ones that ran over Ted and killed him," or whatever.
Well, the thing is, he's gone from having an actual career to having just a job.
He's taken a bit of a pay cut with this, hasn't he?
He's probably taken a pay cut, and he's also got no progression, is he? What are they going to do? Give him bigger boxes?
He could be chief box packer.
Well, only if Kirk
he could be
dies.
Bossing Dirk around this time next week.
He's not going to talk back.
He's probably just going to be factory boss, isn't he? He's about as qualified for that as Sarah Louise is.
Has anyone ever been promoted from box packer to factory boss?
I don't know, but
no.
we've had Jenny being promoted as cleaner to boss's wife. So
I don't think Sarah needs a new wife.
No.
Especially not Craig.
Well, she's going to need a new bloke now, isn't she, with Adam being accused of all sorts.
I want to know who's going to be the more boring box packer out of Craig or Steve Fisher.
Or Kirk, even, to be fair.
At least Kirk's got some funny lines and he sings songs about your arsehole.
Anyway, I think we are done for this week's Street Talk. And yeah, I'm feeling quite positive about this week as a whole. I think that the stories that had been a bit naff got a bit better. I was a bit fed up with Kevin, but I'm glad that we got to see a bit more of Abby and Toyah and Imran. I thought that the stew stuff was light-hearted fun and lovely picnic scenes. So I am going to give this a very generous 3.5 projectile toenails out of 5, because that bit where Steve is clipping his nails and it goes into Tracy's face. Funny stuff.
That was so relatable.
What's your score?
Often I've just been minding my business and then suddenly a toenail, I can hear it clatter across the floor from you.
You hate it when I do my toenails, don't you?
I don't love it.
I do have rather gross toenails, everybody. You don't want to know, but if you ever seen those adverts where they advertise the fungal nail treatment, they could have used me as a foot model for those.
It's the only time you'll ever be a foot model, yeah. So I thought it was very good. I can't give it a 4.
No, I wouldn't have 4 this week.
I know it's not. No. Right, I'm giving it 4.
You said you can't give it a 4.
Meths and tonics.
You're giving it a 3.5.
No,
giving it a 3.5.
No, Rebecca, I'm giving it 4 meth and tonics.
Okay, fine. Character of the week this week. I can't really give it to anyone in the Abby story because they're all a bit as bad as each other there. I might...
Give it to Sarah Louise for her amazing detective skills.
I did enjoy Sarah
Adam
Lou
doesn't
this
even
week.
like oysters.
Although I thought Stu was quite funny. I could give
I
it
know.
to him for just...
Stu. He was great.
And Lydia was all right, just
Yeah,
as
she was
an
good.
evil, manipulative old so-and-so.
I just really need to know. I need someone from Coronation Street to tell me. No, that is it. She is just mad because she dated him for a month. Or, no, there's more to discover.
I
because
hope so.
if there isn't any more, I need to know now.
There was ample opportunity for her to have revealed something for him today, but she didn't. I am going to give my character of the week to Stu, just to say, well done. You are able to hold my attention by some fluffy fun
He is
story.
really good.
And you don't need high drama and secrets and revelations and all that kind of stuff to be a really great story. And he's lots of fun, and I just got a horrible feeling I'm not going to be able to choose him as character of the week for very much longer because I think his days are numbered. Sadly.
I don't need him and Yasmeen to be any more than boss and worker, though. I just think they're not suited to each other at all. I think Yasmeen is too aristocratic and she's too inhibited now, isn't she? She used to be a lot more free and bohemian.
She can bring it out of her. I'm all for it. No, but I'm giving it to Stu, but I'm giving props as well to Daniel. I thought he was all right this week. I thought that Tracy was quite fun this week. I thought that Linda, I'm enjoying watching Linda. As much as I'm not on her side about who should Joseph go to live with, I liked her. I think that Sarah Lou, great. And I always love Abby. So
and everyone else we didn't mention were bad.
Yes, terrible actors and characters. Who are you giving it to, Stu?
No.
Who's your character of the week? Sarah Lou?
Yes.
Okay, Sarah Lou and lovely Stu. That's it. That is it. We're done.